The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Standard Heating and Air is looking for an accounting administrator and customer service representatives to join their team. Learn more at standardheating.com/careers today.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93
Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Today is Thursday.
I can't believe it!
It's only Thursday.
You have to go to get your colonoscopy. You're going to look at the information and you're going to go, oh my God, this is so easy. This is not the day to have visitors. You don't want nobody to see you like this. It is not going to be pretty. If you own a recliner chair, don't get comfortable. Don't recline yourself. If you way back, you are never going to make it out of that chair. Yeah, ain't going to make it. When you drink it, and it's been a half hour, don't ever say, well, I don't think it's working. You will be the first person in history that this hadn't worked on. It works on elephants. And for God's sake, if you feel like you're gonna fart, don't trust it. You can't trust a fart this day. It may start out as one, but it will not end as a fart.
Let's do this.
Showtime.
There you go. That right there is the sound of one of our two guests this morning on the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Hello. Thank you for listening. One of our two guests, I think I have this right. Well, I know for sure that right there was entertainer C Willi Myles. Didn't he tell us last time he visited he didn't so much want to be called a stand-up comic? He would rather be referred to as an entertainer?
Yeah, he
Correct?
thinks that's what he's more of, entertainer, because he doesn't just sit there and tell jokes. He more tells funny stories.
Our other guest today is our doctor friend, Dr. James Parnell. You might know him by the nickname Dr. P. Jesus.
He's not very entertaining.
No. Sorry, I had to balance it out a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him an entertainer.
You got to more drag it out of him.
Yep.
I think when it comes to Dr. P. So I believe this is the first time that the two of them will be on air together.
I think so.
And I'm looking forward to the two of them getting to meet. I believe this program, Josh, will reach a level of sophistication that it's never experienced before.
A lot more intelligence than I think we're used to around here. I always kind of have a goofy, embarrassing permagrin on. Anytime C Willi Myles is in studio, I think I just can't stop smiling and staring at him. You know how creepy Dana's smile is when he's taking a picture? And not that I should be one to talk. I don't know how to take pictures. But you know, just that creepy smile he has?
Dana, when he smiles, he appears to be happy, but behind his eyes, you can see murderous rage.
Yeah, you see the anger right there.
You can see some unsettled things behind his eyes. Yes, what about that?
And it's weird how fast that changes. But I have a very similar smile when C. Willi is in here. Just because he's one of those guys that it doesn't really matter what he does, he is entertaining. Just the way he says certain things, the looks on his face, his body language.
He's just a cool dude, too.
Some of the words he says, I absolutely love it. Like when he said elephant, I absolutely love that.
Yes, right. When he tells a story, it's not just the content, it's the way he presents it.
But these
inflections and everything.
These are two classy individuals, C. Willi Myles and Dr. P. Educated, reasonable, like, say...
wealthy.
Wealthy?
Don't forget wealthy, yeah.
Are they got a few bucks?
I think they're doing just fine.
Like, say, this particular scenario, Josh, I would go ahead and say that if we were stranded on a desert island, we make it out alive if Dr. P or C. Willi are there. Without them, we're dead within 24 hours.
You're probably right.
I look at them as the type of individuals with their sophistication, their education, their reason, they would get us out of that situation. So
yeah, we could be delusional enough and just everything that would come with becoming stranded on a desert island, and we'd watch Dana chase what he thinks is a giant slithering hot dog with a rattling tail. You have to tell him, no, don't eat that.
No, bad.
Or how do you know what berries to eat? Or if you have some sort of ailment, you need Dr. P there. And boy, you could die of boredom if C. Willi Myles wasn't there. You're right. Those are the guys you want with you.
Both of them checking in, I think, this morning around 7:30 or so. Dr. P. Jesus and C. Willi Myles together for the very first time.
If we were stranded on an island or in a forest, who do you think would be the first person to use poison ivy as toilet paper?
Oh, to use poison ivy. Well, I have maybe the most active digestive system, so I'll go ahead and see me. See me isn't the word. I'll go ahead and say me. But that's an interesting question.
I was going more on the lines of, would you know what leaf you could use?
No,
I wouldn't have no clue.
No, not at all.
So it'd be Dana.
Yeah.
Well, maybe with Dana, we'll say, all right, Dana, now try this one.
Yeah.
What about this one? Give this one a shot.
A couple people are texting in already. Ashley is still sick. Sorry. She's feeling like deep fried ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she'll be this whole week. Don't expect her to come in. She won't be here tomorrow either.
And it just goes to show you, Josh, you can take care of yourself day in, day out. You can be very careful in how you treat yourself, and still, sometimes you're just going to get sick.
It's one of those acts of God, right? It's shocking. It's shocking.
All right, Josh. Man, my friggin' wife. You've met her, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan. I've actually known her for decades.
You've met the woman?
Yes. Yeah.
My wife.
Decades. Yes.
Boy, she had me aggravated last night. You mind if I tell you about this?
I'd like to know.
You're a
sure.
married man, right? You can relate to some of the aggravation. Have any of you seen this television show? So, got to doing some of that miserable show prep to be ready for today's program. I got to doing some of that last night. And at the end of the night, I planted my ass down on the couch, and the friggin' wife was watching a television program. I think it was called The Bachelorette.
No, I'm not into any of those shows.
Yeah, me neither.
None of you.
I've seen a little bit of it here and there, but I've never sat down and intentionally watched it. I've never sought it out.
That's what that unsettled look behind Dana's eyes is. He's thinking about terrible television programming that he could watch.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you watch The Bachelor? I thought you were into one of those.
There was that Golden Bachelor one. I watched a little bit of that one.
Oh, that's the one?
Yeah, where I actually was like, I knew who the people were week to week a little bit.
Okay, is this a hugely popular show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Oh, yeah, The Bachelor's been on forever.
Bachelor, Bachelorette.
I've got friends that, these are the types of dudes you would never expect would watch something like that, but they are hooked.
Okay.
Absolutely hooked.
Wasn't it one year the Minnesota Twins team would have, watch parties?
Yes, many years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
Many years ago, the Minnesota Twins, I think it was at spring training, when they'd have some downtime, they'd go to somebody's condo and watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. You thought it was a...
I think Brian Dozier told
I'm going to go along with it.
Don't you usually say, Nick, if it's a trend or a show, you get into it about 20 years later?
Well, I get into any show. Yeah,
that's
20.
what I'm saying. It's about 20 years later. The Bachelorette started in 2003.
Is that right?
And you're asking us if are you familiar with The Bachelorette?
I never in a million years would have guessed that. But yeah.
The show can drink now.
I'm not a television guy. But anyway, so I sat down, and the friggin' wife is watching this program, and what's in front of me is this scorching hot young lady, and she's crying, and she's terribly upset because I guess, however the program worked, she was supposed to marry somebody, and it didn't happen. All right? And she, over and over again, is using the word journey to describe her dating life or her life in general or her experience on the television show. And that is a pet peeve of mine. That became, speaking of trends, that became a trendy thing a number of years ago. We're not just living our lives here as aimless human beings. We're on a journey. I hate that because it's a word you use to make yourself sound more special than you really are. It's just life. It's not a journey. It's just friggin' life. And this gorgeous, scorching hot woman keeps using the word over and over again. And I finally snapped as I'm sitting on the couch watching the first, 2-3 minutes of this. Well, it wasn't the first 2-3 minutes of the program, but it was the first 2-3 minutes that I sat down and watched. It was the end of the show, I think, where she's crying and going on. And I finally snapped and I said, all right, enough with the word friggin' journey. It's not a journey. It's just your life. I'm hollering this at the television now in front of the friggin' wife. And she said, what? And I turned to the wife and I said, what? And she said, well, you have a problem with the word journey? And I said, yeah, to describe your life, it's not a journey, it's just life. And she says, so you and I, we're not on a journey together? And I said, no, we're not. And she went on to tell me that in her opinion, she defines our marriage as a journey of love and growth.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's a very nice sentiment.
I figured you'd like that.
Nobody's ever said anything like that to me.
I figured you would like that. Yeah. And I disputed that. I said, no, we are not on a journey of love and growth. That's what self-centered people would say. And so
it's a bit grandiose.
Yes, it is.
Maybe a shallow, pedantic. Definitely not mundane. Yeah, I would feel like, my life isn't that important to say it's been a journey.
Right. That's my entire point.
It's kind of it's pretty much just the same thing every day. Food, schedule, all that kind of stuff. And if it's adjusted, I'm miserable.
If you literally have spent your life with a backpack on your shoulders, walking to every corner of the earth, then you have been on a journey. Just going to work and making some babies and paying some bills and going on vacation once in a while, that's not a journey. I'm sorry. This drives me nuts. So last night, because of 5 minutes of this dopey dating show called The Bachelorette, me and the friggin' wife ended up at odds over how we define our marriage and our life. So she said her definition of our marriage is a journey of love and growth. And then she asked me, okay, you have such a problem with that. How do you define our marriage? And I said, we're just two people trying to have a good time. She didn't think that was the proper definition.
Ask me about CrossFit. Jesus said, if she keeps using the word journey, you're both going to eventually go your own separate ways.
You son of a dick. Don't you think that's fair, Josh? That I defined our marriage as two people trying to have a good time. Isn't that all we really do day after day? We're just trying to have some laughs, trying not to kill each other. We're just two people trying to have a good time.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy if somebody said that to me. But I mean, what she said was beautiful prose. For example, Hallmark should get that.
Yeah, they should.
I want to send that in a card to somebody.
A journey of love and growth.
Yeah, that'd be a good anniversary card.
How
right
corny. And grandiose, as you said.
Yeah, I'd feel a bit douchey saying, something about my life being a journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I know what you mean. Like when I hear somebody say that, I think the same thing. And, they probably don't mean it that way. It's just something people say nowadays.
Ah, man. So that was how that played out after watching 5 minutes of The Bachelorette.
Everything good now?
She was trying to piss me off towards the end of the night. I mean, we were content with each other's definition of our marriage. It didn't lead to anything terrible. But at the end of the night, she tried to piss me off. I'm on my way into bed, and she cuts me off and embraces me. Little hug, good night. And she starts singing in my ear. We are on a journey of love and growth. And I said, get off of me!
It
So
appears
you didn't sleep well.
I slept like a baby.
the journey you're on with your wife right now, you've hit a fork in the road, and now you have to decide which path you want to take to continue this journey together.
I don't know if we're going to make it.
I hope you don't take separate paths.
We'll see, because that really surprised me. She was serious. We are on. Now I'm going to get everyone singing this. It's going to get stuck in your head. We are on a journey of love and growth. But I'll tell you what, that lady, the leading lady on that show last night, wow, wee wah.
Yeah.
Is that the Jen Tran lady that's in the commercials?
Her Instagram is cool.
Oh, so you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They always write a bunch of articles on this type of thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a huge show.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, she's got a lot of photos on her Instagram you'd like, Nick.
Oh. What does she do for a living?
She's just on a journey. I have no idea.
Don't do that, Wapple. You don't know what she does for it? It doesn't say on her Instagram. Are you on her Instagram page right now?
I was, and it did not really give too much.
All right.
All it says on her Wikipedia is that she's an American television personality.
Okay, so.
And I think I saw that she put, she's a full-time potato. I don't know what that means.
Well, maybe I
doesn't do much.
Maybe I'm sorry I asked, but...
Oh, she looks like she's pretty smart. This year, she graduated with a Master's of Science in Clinical Medical Science.
I don't even know what that is.
That's what my dad did for a living.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, no, wait, he was a truck driver. Anyway, yeah, she was gorgeous. And the show, I mean, tell me if I am even close here, because I tried to drag a little bit of information about the friggin' out of the friggin' wife. I tried to drag a little bit of information out of her as I was sitting there for 10 minutes watching the end of this show. They get people together and give them 2 months, and then you're supposed to get married?
Yep. That's the gist.
Anybody know if any of those marriages ever lasted?
It's rare, but there are some. Mm-hmm. I have asked. I don't remember the exact stats, but...
Because I assumed it's all fake.
Yeah.
For the show.
Is it?
I just assumed, for the reality show, it's okay, we got famous, we got what we wanted, let's get this fake marriage and all that kind
of... Right. I mean, even Ashley and Dana get engaged, not to each other. Even Ashley and Dana give it 3 or 3.5 months before they get engaged. And that's just so amazing to me, if it's all real.
Well, and then there's so many of these reality TV shows where they use reality TV stars. So once you become famous for that, then you'll get put on a different reality.
Is that how they do it?
Yeah, this Jen Tran, she was on The Bachelor, and I'm looking at it, season 28, and now she was The Bachelorette just now, and now she's going to be on Dancing with the Stars this season, too.
Yeah, and there's this show called The Challenge or something like that, and they use people from Survivor, Bachelorette,
really?
All these different shows.
Well, it becomes their job.
Yeah, they kind of recycle them through all the different shows.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to see more from that Jen.
Did you try out for the Survivor show this year? You did? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a buddy who tries out every year.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the boat cruise, actually.
Oh, you guys did?
Yeah. We were talking about different strategies we've used and how we're losers.
Do you set up your own obstacle course? Do you eat weird things?
No, what they say is they don't want you to do anything too goofy or silly. They just want to know who you are. They want to get to know you. So they say they don't like stunts and stuff. Just be yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us why you want to be on the show.
And then do a sweet backflip.
Yes, exactly.
Ninja Turtle Nutcase Jesus said on The Bachelor and Bachelorette, they get engaged at the end of the show. Most of them break up. So you don't actually get married then? I guess you just get engaged.
You get engaged, and then later on they do a special where they show them getting married.
Okay. Yeah, I've never watched it.
Here's a text message from Procrastinator Jesus, who says, on Facebook, I see it all the time. When people say happy anniversary to each other, they say, here goes another year on Earth in our crazy journey that we call life.
Yeah, or you, another year around the sun with my love.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, not trying to be a dick or anything, but some of those are, again, to use the word grandiose, it's a little much.
I'm fine if
you can just say that to your significant other. You don't have to put it out there, because when you put it out there, it makes it seem like you're wanting everyone to know what a good writer you are, or what a great spouse you are, that type of thing.
I think it's more the latter. Look how great of a spouse I am.
Oh, man. What about this one? This is Hot Cocoa Sheezes checking in. Is this another little slogan that people use to make their ordinary lives seem more exciting and important? She says, life is an adventure book. You choose your own ending.
I loved those books.
I did too.
Choose your own
adventure.
Well, Australian Jesus said his sister was on a show called Married at First Sight, all fake. All fake. He said we can Google her. Tracy Jewell is what she went by.
I have heard of that show.
Married at First Sight?
Yeah.
It was all fake. So she was just acting.
Yeah, that's what he
his
says
sister. His sister did this. Well, yeah. Those reality shows, I assume most of it is acting, or the real dramatic Maury Povich type programs. So who were some of the other folks who hosted shows like that? Geraldo,
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. I assumed most of it was all fake.
Oh, I got to see firsthand how fake the Maury show was. It was kind of fascinating, actually, when we went to a taping of it. And, the producers, they get you to cheer. They tell you when. They tape the segments like different orders. One of them got done, and they say, hey, we weren't too happy with that. We're going to run it back and redo it, retape it, So it's all fake.
Yeah, and I learned that about the Maury Povich show because a gal I used to know was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was over, she came back and told everybody. She said, I was told every single thing I said was scripted out.
Mm-hmm. There's teleprompters too.
It's funny. It's odd, but
I faked every orgasm I've ever had.
You bastard!
I'm going to say it.
You were so convincing with them.
I faked every single one. Not a one was real. I don't know if I'd be able to do something like that. I think I'd be annoyed with myself. The producers, they'll try and get you pissed off. They'll set up situations to create some strife between folks or, put you in a position. Like even the Family Feud, right? They'll ask a question that is clearly to provoke a sexual answer. And then when somebody goes, they're like, oh, my, how do you go there?
yeah, that's good stuff, but it works and it makes money, and they don't care.
No.
Who knows? They don't care.
Tell us something of your husband's you'd like to suck. Well, I don't know if I should say it. I'm like, no, his homemade popsicles, you dummy. That's what you're supposed to say.
You're gross.
Hilarious. Oh, wow. What else is going on around here? Ashley's still not feeling well. Well, like I said, you can take care of yourself day in, day out, and it's still going to happen. How are we doing with this Turtle Lake party? Anyone showing up for this yet?
I'm not sure how the tickets are doing, but there are tickets available if people are interested. Also, tickets yet available for the booze cruise on the Mississippi, but that, I've been told, is nearly sold out. So if you'd like to jump aboard, you should get on that on 93x.com.
All right. First things first.
Oh, what a journey it's going to be. We're going to do it together. Well, actually, I won't be there. But you guys are going to do it together.
We'll be on that journey together. Yes, we will. First things first, the Rock the River. Check out our website if you want to jump on the boat with us, September 20th. And then our trip to Turtle Lake. That's October 17th through the 19th at St. Croix Casino in Turtle Lake, our third annual Brotherhood Bash. Go ahead, stop by the website for that as well if you think you got the time to cruise on across the Cheddar Curtain and have a few drinks with us. Sponsored by Devani's Pizza. Aggravates Josh every time we read that sponsor, not because he has a problem with Devani's, because he loves them and he wants to be their spokesman.
I do. And they chose somebody else.
And
Why that guy? Anyways.
And that guy probably hasn't had a Devani's in decades. Sponsored by Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. We got a live broadcast. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Jesse James Dupree has in store for us with his new act, Breathing Fire. Jesse James Dupree, lead singer for Jackal.
And what a journey he's been on, right?
Here we go.
He's been through it all.
Go to 93x.com. Get yourself involved. Packages on sale right now. Yeah. I think I said it a few days ago. One of my favorite live bands, Jackal. They always just put on a hellacious show. First time I saw them, they opened up for Aerosmith. Oh, early 90s. This was when Jesse was in Playgirl magazine. Some bitch got naked for Playgirl magazine. Got the dong out and everything, Cubby.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I remember...
He's always been in great shape.
Yeah, being at the show, and you guys know that I'm not an Aerosmith guy, and I never really have been. Mm-hmm. I really went to that show to see Jackal, and then, okay, fine, I'll drink some beer and try to enjoy Aerosmith. Sorry, Aerosmith fans, I've never been dialed into it. Mm-hmm. And there were women showing up at this concert with the Playgirl edition in their hands.
That's awesome.
So I saw Jesse's penis a dozen times that night because women were just standing in the concourse at Target Center looking at his Playgirl spread or whatever you call it. And then he comes out with the shotgun microphone stand. I've never seen any other act do that. Did you ever see him do that in person?
No, I've only seen them once, and he didn't have that. But, I mean, how does a guy get so lucky, right? He's achieved his childhood dream of being a rock star. He's cool looking. He's still in great shape after all these years. He's still playing in front of crowds after all these years. He must have a nice penis if he's in Playgirl. I mean, I would never be, if they ever, for some reason, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel, they're like, nobody else will do it. Will you please do it? There's no way, unless, Photoshop, maybe if they do something like that. But yeah, I mean, my gosh, what a cool life he's had. I almost said journey.
Yeah, he's been on a good run.
And he couldn't be nicer.
Nice guy. But I mean, that's when I laughed out loud the first time. I don't know if he had it on stage that night when he was opening for Aerosmith, but sometime soon after that, he comes out and he's got a shotgun microphone stand that fired.
Oh, sweet.
And it was just, and then the chainsaw bit, they just had so much damn fun. You know how Josh and I obsess about 80s rock. Mm-hmm. Even though I guess Jackal's debut album wasn't until, was it 91 maybe, or maybe 92? I still lump them in with the harder rock bands from the 80s. So we obsess about it back and forth. If you don't mind, I'd just like to make a suggestion. If you got nothing to do later and you want to hear it, I'll give you 2 suggestions for Jackal songs. If you're a younger person or someone who's not dialed into that band and you're going, I don't even know what the hell you're talking. I got 2 songs for you. Push Comes to Shove, off their second record. That is a kick-ass rock song. And then for you drinkers out there, one of the greatest drinking songs ever made, Jackal put together, many years ago. It's a song called The Secret of the Bottle. And I'm telling you, on a Friday or Saturday night, you get your buddies together with a cooler full of beer, and you put on The Secret of the Bottle by Jackal, it's going to become your regular Friday, Saturday night drinking song.
So if you put that on, let's say we're at a party, somebody puts that on, and what if I decide, I want to play one more, and I play She Loves My C Word?
Hey,
is that going to get me kicked out? Or?
No one's going to argue that one. That's a fun song.
Yeah. I mean, the guy came up with Rock Me, Roll Me, Jackal Me Off.
Yeah.
What else can he give us? What else can he provide?
No one's going to get mad at you, at you, Josh, if you play She Loves My Car. No one. But I'm telling you, push comes to shove, Secret of the Bottle, they'll become your friggin' party songs. You heard it here first. We got to take a break. We'll go ahead with the stupid news when we come back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
Are you looking to improve your work-life balance with excellent benefits like 401k match and even tuition reimbursement? Standard Heating and Air is looking for an accounting administrator and customer service representatives to join their team. Learn more at standardheating.com/careers today.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, our stupid news report is coming right up. But first, earlier on, I was telling you boys that last night I sat down in front of the television with the friggin' wife, and she was watching The Bachelorette, a program called The Bachelorette. This was my first experience with the show. Awful, terrible show. Massive waste of time. Luckily, I only caught the last 10 minutes. Although the leading lady from last night's show was a missile, and I want to get to know her a lot better. I do. But Josh, when we were having a conversation earlier about The Bachelorette, and there's also a program called The Bachelor, they've been around forever, from what we've learned this morning. And, reality TV, most of it is nonsense. Most of it is fake. But somebody, I thought it was you, Josh, asked, I wonder, these couples that supposedly get married, do they actually stay married? Now, I got a text from a listener that says there have been 27 seasons of The Bachelor. 5 couples are still together.
Wow.
The Bachelorette has had 19 seasons. 4 couples are still together. So according to this listener, the 2 franchises have a combined success rate of 19%.
That batting average will get you sent down to the minors.
So what is your regular marriage? Is it over 50%? I mean, I guess you've heard different. Well, I'm suggesting what you've heard. I've heard different statistics. I've heard before like half fail, which seems a little high to me, but
I don't know.
Maybe that's the case.
I don't know where we're at these days.
Wapo, looks like you're about to say something.
I'm trying to find
the marriage success rate in America.
Yeah.
It looks like estimated marriage for 2024, 41% of first marriages will end in divorce.
41%.
All right, so 59% make it.
Yes.
Nobody's going to compliment my math?
No, Josh, it doesn't even affect me anymore, your brilliance.
Yeah, right. My math is not good.
I'm used to you having the correct answer.
See, the rest of us weren't positive you were right, so we didn't want to say anything.
I was going to say, have you heard me and Nick talk about math before?
Well, Wapo, yours is impressive. Like sometimes we're looking for a negative number and you give us a positive number.
Yep.
All right.
Or your age is good. A lot of times you really screw up how old you were at a certain year.
Oh, I hate that.
By a large margin.
I have no idea, what grade a kid is, how old they are. I can't do that.
I'm with you. Well,
I think 3rd grade, 10?
Well, Wapple, just focus. Your specialty is speaking eloquently.
Yeah.
That's your specialty.
Yeah,
and
don't try and branch out.
Why try and enter new realms when you've got that mastered? Forget about arithmetic. That's not your game.
So good at it.
Oh, here's this. I've never heard this statistic. This person says 100% of divorces are caused by marriage. Did you guys know that?
Very good point.
Whole frog protection. Frog protection, Jesus said marriage is actually the leading cause of divorce.
Sure. It certainly is. All right, today's Stupid News Report by Dan. We're going to go here, we're going to go there. First, here's a video you might want to look at if you like ass. If you like ass. For some damn reason, young people all collectively lost their damn minds. A couple nights ago in Detroit, Michigan, more than 100 young people stormed the streets and surrounded a city bus. And just hanging off of it, just rocking this sumbitch. Lost their minds. I don't know what prompted such behavior. The bus driver didn't know what the F hit him. He's just helpless. Poor bastard trying to make a living. They're rocking his bus back and... But this might have cheered the driver up. After a short while, a couple of foxy ladies climbed on up and started twerking their behinds up and down. North, south, east, west kind of a thing.
That'll make a guy happy.
East and west?
Yeah.
Whoa. My wife was just telling me a story yesterday about my youngest. He said, hey, when's our first dance? When do we get to have something like that? He's looking forward to it. He's loving 7th grade so far, and he wants to know if they're going to have some sort of dance in middle school. And my wife was telling me that she works with a kid who was in my stepdaughter's class growing up. And apparently he got kicked out of a middle school dance for twerking. And I didn't know. I thought twerking was a little more new than when he would have been in middle school.
Who got kicked out of a dance for twerking?
A classmate of my stepdaughter who now works with my wife. He had told my wife recently that, I had a middle school dance and I got kicked out for twerking.
A classmate of your stepdaughter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's been around that long.
I had no idea.
Your stepdaughter's only, 21, too?
22.
Oh, yeah.
First time I saw it was when Miley did it at the VMAs, and that was 2013. I think that's when it really kind of hit.
Who?
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
I knew exactly who you meant. That's the only Miley I think I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think wasn't the Russian twerk team, they were kind of founded in 2015?
Couldn't tell you what year.
You're actually asking us when the Russian twerk team was founded?
Yeah. I feel like you knew the history of that.
So I thought they were just pros, but regular people, you're saying, have been doing it nearly 10 years. You said 2015 is when it started?
Yeah.
It's been going on for
Russian
a
twerk team.
long damn time.
Nobody's going to compliment that math.
Don't have to.
Once again, I'm still trying to figure it out in my head.
Get my calculator app up.
Feel free to compliment my math, 651-989-9393. The very easy math that's been happening this morning.
Like I said, I'm just used to you pissing excellence.
Yeah, right.
All right, so that's what happened in Detroit, Michigan. Young people all came storming out of their houses and just went buck wild in the streets, including damn near turning over a city bus. A couple of gals climbed up on top of the damn thing and were just bouncing their behinds, north, south. Young people on social media commented on this ass party that cut loose. One kid who was there apparently tweeted, 7 Mile turned up last night. 7 Mile must be the name of the neighborhood or something like that. 7 Mile is up last night. And he went on to say, and to all the shaky butts, I'm so glad y'all came out.
Shaky butts. That's good.
I think that was an Eminem reference, too, because 8 Mile, the movie, Detroit.
Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah, I assumed it. There's probably something there, right?
You're probably right on that, Waffle.
Yeah, the bus driver's kind of has the look on his face like, all right, I'm going to give you about 30 to 40 more minutes to knock this off.
I think you're right. Not everyone is as enthusiastic about those shaky butts. Namely, Detroit Police Deputy Chief Arnold Williams. Come on, Arnold, loosen up for Christ's sake.
I think that's kind of a cool name.
Detroit Police Deputy Chief Arnold Williams?
Yeah.
That is a cool name. He said about all these young people running wild, it boggles the imagination that people are out there just doing this, is what Arnold said. Cops had to break up this party. At about 2:48 a.m., the cops were finally able to clear the party out. Oh, man, the young people. I remember when I could still be awake and functioning at 2:48 a.m. Somebody down there in Detroit, over there in Detroit, said there were motor vehicle drivers doing donuts in the street and downright disrespect to the folks in the neighborhood. And yeah, I'm at the point in my life where I don't really get too excited about something like this. I think I quickly ask myself, if this was going on in my neighborhood, would I be a happy guy? No, I would not be. I'd be straight up pissed off if at 2 o'clock in the morning the neighborhood was rocking like it's 8 o'clock at night with noise. No, I'd be pissed too. And things get serious here too. An old-timer in the neighborhood by the name of Larry Long, he said, in reference to the young people going nuts, you can't talk to them about anything. They get, like I think he means if you try to break this party up, they get upset. Some of them get out their guns. They want to act crazy and stupid and foolish. It's best not to say anything to them. And dude, that sucks. I hear you, Larry, like I was just saying.
That would be frustrating for sure.
There is no respect or consideration for others anymore. Sorry, Larry. But the cops said this now. Because, of course, the young kids can't help but record this with their cellular telephones and put it all over social media. Look how crazy we are. Look how late we're out. Look how much ass we shake. The cops said, hey, kids, keep videotaping. Keep allowing us the opportunity to see who you are. We're coming for you. Because they still want to ticket some kids for disorderly conduct and whatnot. So, yeah,
they'll keep doing it.
Yeah,
they have to.
They have to. They can't help themselves. It's a disease. Must be noticed by strangers on the internet. That's the thought of the young people these days. So, yeah, they can't help it. They'll keep posting that stuff.
You know, I've looked up how to do it. I've asked people who know how to do it to tell me how to do it, but I cannot twerk. I can't figure it out. My body doesn't know how to do it.
Well, I mean, you have, Josh, no offense, you are unbelievable at arithmetic.
Which we've learned this morning.
But no offense, you have the least amount of rhythm that maybe I've ever seen from anybody in my lifetime.
Oh, it's bad. It's embarrassingly bad. To the point where somebody might look and go, okay, he's putting that on. Mm-hmm. But no, it is that bad. I've mentioned before, my wife and I, my wife is an excellent dancer. She's very good. She did that forever. You put some music on, she's really good at it. And she married the world's worst. But we were at a wedding, and it's a slow song. I'm not going to go out there to a fast song. Slow song. She really wanted to dance. She loves to do it. So I'm like, okay, fine. Let's go. And we go to the left. We go to the right. I pulled a butt muscle, and I was out the rest of I had to sit down the rest. I mean, I pulled a butt muscle on the second move.
Injured reserve.
They get an ice bucket for you. You're just sitting on it.
Oh, it was terrible. I was so embarrassed.
The DJ that night, did he play some fast songs?
Oh, he did. Yeah. There's a variety.
Did he play some slow songs?
There were some slow songs.
Mid-tempo songs?
Mostly mid-tempo songs. But yeah, I pulled a butt muscle.
Boring songs?
I pulled a butt muscle on a slow song.
Yeah, it can happen.
Oh, is this true? A 208er said you have to have a big penis to be able to twerk.
Oh. Yeah, because it's kind of top-heavy. You know, it helps you.
It balances you out? Okay, gotcha.
It's like an anchor.
Yep.
Can anybody here twerk?
Never tried it.
I don't have an ass.
Well, I don't think you have to have much of an ass. Just the motion, be able to.
I guess I've never really
right.
tried.
I mean, didn't Dana just say the first twerker he ever saw was Miley Cyrus? She ain't got no ass.
That's a good point.
My ass looks more bulbous than hers, and I have a trucker butt. But anyway.
This is whole frog protection, Jesus.
Again with this guy?
Yeah. He texted in. And,
is he the only one listening this morning?
It appears that way.
Okay.
So I have epilepsy, if you didn't know. And he texts.
Oh, no.
This is his advice on how I could twerk. All I have to do is just stare at a strobe light. You know what? That's very mean. I have a medical condition.
Hey, Frog, whatever your name is, I was upset for a second, but now, boy, am I glad you texted again. That's brilliant.
It's usually my kids that bully me about that.
You and your stupid epilepsy.
I've made a lot of wrong choices. That's why I've got it.
Yeah, this Detroit, Michigan street party, the young version of me says, man, that sounds incredible. Girls hanging off a bus with their ass cheeks swinging this way and that way, but the old-timer in me says that's miserable, and I'd likely end up in the middle of these young kids swinging a baseball bat. Go to bed, for Christ's sake. That's hilarious. Look at a strobe light. You'd be the greatest dancer in the world.
Yeah.
What if that was my secret power? I'm going on America's Got Talent or something. I'm like, all right, we really got to get these things cooking.
Yeah. We need to bring in extra strobes tonight. This is the big time.
If somebody forgets the strobe, they just think, well, this guy used to know how to twerk. What happened? I lived across from a park for a while, and I ended up hating it because I became that guy in the neighborhood, and I bought binoculars because there was a lot of stuff that went on at night, and to the point where it was almost like a second job at one point because I was so concerned about what was happening across the street.
You would sit in. Yeah, I remember you telling this.
I didn't like myself at all.
You would sit
more than usual
in the dark with a pair of binoculars and watch the neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's when I knew maybe it's time to move.
Man, I mean, what the hell were you so worried about?
Well, just because there was there was some bad stuff. There was bad enough going on over there that the cops put cameras in my yard, right, to try and catch some of it. So there was something to it, but at the same time, I didn't like who I was becoming. I thought I'm a little too young to be buying binoculars to simply stare at what's going on across the way.
Yeah, that's creepy. I know we probably have done this before, but back to your absolute absence of rhythm. Can you keep a beat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you can keep a beat.
Like I can be, I'm not like a great drummer. I enjoy doing it, but like with guitar, I can stay on time.
Yeah, obviously, right. You're a guitar player, so you have some sense of rhythm.
But I can't.
But when you get on your feet, it evaporates. It's your any sense of rhythm that you do have is gone when you get on your feet.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I can't, because you're a guitar player, because you know how to play music, you've been in bands, I can't say that you have the least amount of rhythm of anyone I've ever met.
No stage presence whatsoever.
No.
I'm like the Mick Mars of any band. I just got to stand there.
You can't move. You can't. You have to put your legs into place, and they stay there the entirety of the show. You can't walk around and...
And I look scared, and because I am scared.
You are scared.
That's the only thing I really liked about 90s music is like, okay, sweet, I can stare at my shoes, and I'm fitting in with what's popular on stage right now.
Obviously, you're familiar with former Kiss guitar player Bruce Kulick. You're a fan of his.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Talented guitar player, made some great records with Kiss.
Love Bruce Kulick.
He's very slick and a wonderfully nice guy. You know the nickname that Bruce Kulick got when he joined Kiss, right?
No.
They called him Spruce Kulick because he just stood there like a tree. It took him a long time to get used to, especially in the 80s. You know, when a rock band hit the stage in the 80s, they had to all do this acrobatic crap. You know, they were all trying to steal from David Lee Roth. And it was like you had to put on this show like you were being attacked by kittens. You know, it was annoying. It got to be too much. But yeah, so a lot of folks didn't think that Kulick would make it because he just wasn't comfortable running around like that. But on the topic of rhythm, Wapple remembers this. There was a guy that used to work here. This was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard said out loud in my life. There was a guy that used to work here who tried to convince us that he could sing, and he couldn't. Tried to convince us of a lot of things. He had very, very little rhythm. And one day, I think we were off air, weren't we, Wapple?
Yeah, we were.
I put him to the test. I said, you know, he was talking about, oh, yeah, I have rhythm. I can do this. I'm a musical person. I said, do me a favor. Keep a simple beat. And I don't know if my mic's going to pick this up or if you can hear this, but I said, just give me a kind of a thing with his hands on the table. He failed terribly, did he not, Wapple?
Oh, yeah.
Failed. He ended up doing
miserable.
this. He did like a... It was way off rhythm, okay? And I said, dude, that proves it right there. You have no rhythm. What did he tell us? He said, no, I'm wrong. He does have rhythm. He is able to keep a beat, but his brain is not firing properly. It's his brain that's not allowing him to keep the rhythm that he's capable of.
I thought he said it was his muscles.
Oh, I thought it was his... Okay, well, one way or the other.
Yeah, I think he said, no, I have rhythm, but my muscles won't let me keep the rhythm.
Okay, maybe that was it. And we both sat there and said, how far do you want to take this?
That's great. I didn't know we could do that. In that case, I am a wonderful singer. It's just my vocal cords don't allow that.
Mm-hmm. I am the best athlete of all time, but it's my muscles that will not let me do it.
This guy was so stubborn and so friggin' ridiculous that even when we, caught him dead to rights that he cannot keep a beat with his hands, he blamed it on, okay, I'll go along with Wapple's version, he blamed it on his muscle structure or something like that. Just let it go, brother.
You do see that a lot nowadays, right? Like just a ridiculous excuse, and they think we're dumb enough to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that was on air so bad. God,
all right.
That was a funny moment.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Let me give you all the airplane ride nonsense for the week. You all right with that?
Yeah, keep us up to date.
The latest horrible air travel adventures. Let's knock this out. First off, it says here, diarrhea was blamed for an emergency landing.
Man, diarrhea, it's taking planes out left and right.
Yeah, what's everyone eating?
What they call here a Delta flight had to be diverted after a passenger experienced a bout of diarrhea while they were up in the air, in flight.
I feel so bad for that person. I mean, everybody, certainly, but that person's got to feel so embarrassed.
It is kind of in the
And
back of my
coming in.
head. Sorry, Josh.
No, go ahead.
It is kind of in the back of my head when I step on a plane. I'm like, oh gosh, what if I'm that guy? What if I'm the main character who's going to get the diarrhea this time around?
I had 2 hot dogs, a large coffee. I hope this goes well.
That's awesome. That reminds me. We were talking at the state fair. Dana and I were talking about our impending, or I had to leave to go get my physical last Friday. And Dana and I had asked, hey, are you supposed to fast for the blood test? Right? And Dana, your answer was, I can't remember exactly, but it was pretty funny.
I didn't realize I was supposed to do that because on the way to my physical, and I go get mine, I stopped at the gas station, got 2 jalapeno cheddar hot dogs. The lady's like, she's like, well, all right, we'll test your blood, your cholesterol. You haven't eaten today, have you? And I go, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to. And she goes, when was the last time you ate? I'm like, I had jalapeno cheddar dogs an hour ago. She goes, all right, well, these results might be slightly skewed, but we'll go ahead anyway.
You had the most hilarious meal when they wanted you to fast.
Oh, I didn't know that they wanted us to fast.
Well, They didn't say anything to me either. They actually never even brought it up, but they put on the thing. They put how long I fasted. They never even asked me.
I just got lucky because I never eat, in the morning until I get home. Did you at least put a breath mint in your mouth before that?
Oh yeah, I had some gum.
Dang,
I was hungry, man.
Boss lady, it's okay to get hungry.
Well, no, I'm not criticizing your need to have something to eat, but if I have a couple of cheddar jalapeno hot dogs before I do anything, I'm going to put some gum in my mouth, let alone have a doctor, right in my face for an hour and a half.
Although when you think about it, that's probably the best place you could have went after eating those.
That's a good point.
Straight to the doctor's.
If I would have gone down or something, they could have helped me out.
He likes to have sauerkraut on his hot dogs before he goes to the dentist.
Boss lady Sheeza said she's had diarrhea on planes plenty of times. They never pulled over for me, she said. Have you ever eaten airport food? It's a little sketchy. I'm sure everybody has diarrhea. How bad must it have been to pull the whole plane over? Yeah, must have been one of those down-the-aisle deals.
I'll tell you how bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Remember that last time, the photos?
I don't remember the photos.
Oh, God, it was awful.
Just a brown streak all the way down the aisle.
Well, I think that's what happened with this one, too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. That's why they shut her down.
At any rate, they were going from here to there. They were over the Atlantic Ocean, headed way somewheres. Rome or something like that. They left Boston. They're on their way to friggin' Rome. An hour into the flight, they spun her back around, went to New York City, where they had garden hoses and beach towels at the ready. All the passengers, except for the one who sprayed, were transferred to another airplane. I'm guessing the poor sumbitch who had the Hershey's probably went straight to a doctor or at least into an airport bathroom for a good, strong wipe.
I hope they let the person kind of hide in the bathroom until the plane was cleared so they didn't have to face all the people that are angry that the plane turned around.
That's another thing, right? Yeah. Oh, God, I'd feel so embarrassed.
The pilot announced terrible. Pilots, a lot of pilots are cool. Word is when the pilot announced to air traffic control what was going on, he had to tell air traffic control, we're turning around and coming back to the States. He called it on air. He called it a biohazard issue. That's going to be my next line when I got to go, skis. When I got to duck out of here and head to the bathroom cubby, I'm going to tell you I got a biohazard issue going on.
Nick went to take a biohazard.
There's talk here, like what you were saying, Josh. There's talk here in the story about a, quote, brown trail running down the length of the airplane. That's how bad a case of the squirts this person had. God be with that person. God help them.
I've never been in that situation. Obviously not that specific, but I mean where I've left a trail no matter where I was.
Oh, I don't know anybody who's left a trail behind them. My God, that's extreme.
Even prepping for the colonoscopy, I didn't have anything close to that.
Yeah, that's really extreme.
I wonder if it's one of those where the person was just holding it going, please, God, just let me hold it. I mean, you're going to Rome, so maybe they weren't thinking correct. That's going to take a while. But I wonder if maybe that was the thought, or if it was just really that bad.
I just think if it's so bad that you're running down the aisle and it's running down your pant leg, exiting your pant leg, and leaving a trail down the aisle, I imagine you are violently sick.
Oh, you got like dengue fever.
Yeah, that's not somebody who's trying to hold something. I think that's someone who's terribly. A friend of mine, I don't know why anyone in their right mind would do this, but he went to Africa a year ago.
Oh, so you really wouldn't want to go?
Oh, are you effing kidding? Oh, hell no. That's what this guy did.
Oh,
and he said the food there was absolutely wonderful. But here he is. There he was at the airport in Africa getting ready for a 38-hour flight or whatever it is back to the States. And he had some of their airport food. Oh, no. And when he sat down on that airplane a couple hours into that plane ride home, he was bubbling over. And he thought,
that's the worst.
Oh, he broke into the sweats and the whole. No. But he made it. But he thought, I'm going to be that guy. Okay, next up here, Cubby. In our rundown of airplane ride nightmares for this week. What we have now is an entitled lunatic plug who came undone. This was a first-class passenger who went sideways because a flight attendant ordered him to stop vaping. Oh, jeez. This was, by God, an American Airlines flight from Milwaukee to Dallas, if that matters at all to you. They were forced to make an emergency effing landing because Dinkus couldn't control himself when given a simple order. He went nuclear.
And now he can never be on a plane again because of vaping.
He was openly vaping in his seat. And that's a violation. You can't do that. Now, the lunatic accused the flight attendant of making false allegations against him. Does anyone know how to deny that you were vaping when just seconds before everyone saw you vaping? Is there something that I'm missing here?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's one of those we were just talking about. Like, just throwing something out there, hoping everyone believes it.
Then the prick, this individual really went bananas. He was chasing the crew member around the airplane like he wanted to give the flight attendant a beating. That's where I wish, Josh, an air marshal would have been there just to go ahead and put a trank dart in the guy's neck.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Thunk, right in his jugular.
There's so many times in life you see something where you're like, God, I hope there's a cop nearby. Please. Every once in a while you get lucky. It's so satisfying.
Now, other passengers jumped in and protected the flight attendant against the vape king here. And that's when the pilot just said, F it. We're going to land this pig so the cops can beat this guy's ass. Obviously, there's something really wrong with this individual.
There's got to be. I mean, can you imagine being such a dick that you don't care that they might have to land I'm sure they gave him warnings, plenty of warnings, like, hey, you realize if you keep this up, we're going to have to land the plane. Mm-hmm. And you just, maybe there's even a stereotype about first-class passengers. He obviously felt more entitled than the rest of us.
There you go. Now, it says here's the bright side of things, I guess. It says here, the number of unruly I'll get there. The number of unruly passenger incidents on board U.S. flights has dipped massively compared to during the pandemic when everyone was acting like they were 4 years old.
That was crazy. Absolutely crazy. How those numbers were like jumping in the, 100 and some percent or more.
Oh, when the pandemic hit, and not just specifically, on the topic of air travel, but when the pandemic hit, we got a real serious look into the mental health troubles in America.
Yeah,
a really in-depth look into the mental health problems that we have in this country.
I was pretty surprised.
I was too.
Like, wait, this is who we've been walking around the whole time?
I was also surprised. I really thought we would have been able to hold things together a little better. Nope. It was a goat rodeo.
Teacher Shiza said she had 2 6th graders vape in class and claim it was their asthma inhalers. I've seen people use those, and there's that big cloud that forms anytime they use the inhaler.
And it smells fruity.
Yeah. Ashley will leave one of those trails on the way, like walking down the hallway.
I can always tell she just walked in the door because I could smell it.
Yeah, it's like boysenberry in the hallway or whatever. Yeah.
Finally, as far as airplane nonsense goes, speaking of adults who act more like 4-year-olds, 4-year-olds who can't keep from wetting their little pants, there's a video going round and round of this character. An enraged traveler was caught on camera destroying an American Airlines counter with a hammer after realizing that a scammer had sold him a fake plane ticket. Dude flew into a violent rage after trying to check in for his plane ride. This was in Chile, and he was trying to get to Miami. So he walks up to the, what do you call it there, the counter. He's got his ticket. I'm going to Miami. And the lady at the counter said, no, you're not. This is a fake ticket. You can't board the flight. The ticket was a Fugazi. It was a fake. What movie? Donnie Brasco.
Fugazi, also like a punkish band back in the day. Had a couple friends that absolutely loved them.
In all the 5 boroughs, I'm known. Forget about it.
This particular guy, you can put this right in our previous conversation, the misplaced rage.
Misplaced rage.
Maybe you're mad at something and maybe you've got a point, but you're going to take it out on the drive-thru attendant who has absolutely nothing to do with what you're mad at.
That was, if there are 2 words to describe when the pandemic hit town, that's it, Josh. Misplaced rage. Which comes from mental health issues, if you ask me. So even though this was clearly not the airline's fault, that this guy's a sucker and bought a fake plane ticket, the dude went mental. Smashed several computer monitors, and maybe you're wondering, why does he have a hammer? I guess he's a construction worker. He travels with some tools and whatnot. Smashed computers, screaming like a child, caused $20,000 in damages. He was eventually detained by airport security and turned over to the cops. So long, little fella. Say hi to your mommy. Sorry about your tantrum.
That's so odd what people will do to themselves, just to get that little bit of rage out.
Ask anybody about Lefty from Mulberry Street. I'm known. When the hell are you going to watch Donnie Brasco?
I'll get to it. I'm watching it right now on Netflix.
Got it on your phone.
I'm really hoping it's on Netflix. Otherwise, you just caught me in a lie. I started like 20 minutes before you even brought it up.
Ask anybody about Lefty from Mulberry Street. I got cancer of the prick.
It's on something called Filio.
Oh, I don't have that.
Cancer of the prick.
I think that's the new Netflix.
I'm in the medical books for that. My wife, my ex-wife lives in the same apartment. I got to have 3 spritzers just to calm down when I get back to the cancer of the prick. Lefty from Mulberry Street.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's a catchy little tune you came up with there, Cubby. I'll tell you that right now.
This is a waffle joint.
Oh, catchy tune, Wample. Byron Buxton got thrown out of the ball game yesterday playing for the Saints. He was griping at the umpire about a pitch clock violation or something like that.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you don't see that too often.
No.
Big leaguer in the minors.
He's a pretty cool, measured dude. 9 times out of 10, something tells me that maybe his injury problems might be getting to him a little bit. He got thrown out the ball game. Hey, real quick. We were having a conversation about nightmarish air travel. It's just such a joke. I hate it. But we were talking about, oh man, what a disaster it would be if you get sick on an airplane. Diarrhea on an airplane. There was a story in the Stupid News where someone just got violently sick. There was a brown trail all the way up and down the aisle of this airplane. How awful that would be. A listener texted in to say, I just got back from a 14-hour flight home from New Zealand.
Oof.
Oh, I would like to go there.
Longest flight of my life, they say. Do you guys know how hard it is to hold in your farts for 14 hours?
Shoot, I wish I had the Jesus name. Somebody recommended that you put a pillow underneath and it absorbs everything.
I saw that too. I thought that was clever.
The tummy cramps you would have holding in those farts.
Who's the next sucker that's got to lay down on that pillow?
Yeah, somebody you don't like traveling with? Here, you look a little sleepy.
They get pink eye.
Good
You
Lord.
bastard.
It reminds me of me and some pals went to Milwaukee a number of years ago to see an acid rock concert. And I was tired and hungover, ready to get the hell home at the end of this weekend. And we sat down on the plane, and it was a sold-out deal. We were just nuts to butts on this stupid little airplane. And I wasn't in the greatest mood. And suddenly, before we took off, just the most horrible, overwhelming smell of ass took over the back end of this airplane. And I flipped out. I didn't care. I just shouted, something like, "What idiot just crapped their friggin' pants like a baby? Thanks a lot, moron. I hope you go home and crap your pants." I flipped out. I flipped out. I was hollering. Because it was just horrible. Now we got to sit in this guy's filth for the next, 40 minutes on this So I flipped out. And who's the moron that just crapped their pants? And I went off. A buddy of mine tugs on my shirt and said, dude, that was me. Back to the Twins after a couple of one-run ball games in the series. Last night's Twins-Rays game was a gong show. Tampa Bay took an 8-rip lead in the fourth inning, and they more or less just waited the Twins out from there. The final made for a 9-4 loss for the Twins. They play one more in Florida, one more in Tampa Bay. Noon game today. Pablo Lopez is next, and he's been very effective lately. Maybe he can go ahead and give him a split in this series. We'll talk to Randy Shaver in about a half hour. I think C Willi Myles will be here, too, a little bit later on. Dr. P. Jesus. For now, stick around for Josh's news report.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
Are you looking to improve your work-life balance with excellent benefits like 401k match and even tuition reimbursement? Standard Heating and Air is looking for an accounting administrator and customer service representatives to join their team. Learn more at standardheating.com/careers today.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast.
A 2023 last place team will win a playoff game this year.
I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to be that team. If you gave me
safe bet.
If you said two last place teams, I might say that's an overreaction. Come react or overreact with us. This one makes it much easier. So thank you for making it easier.
Well, tune in next week.
Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Oh, everybody thought that it was a joke at first.
I heard gunshots, and then my teacher told us to get in the corner.
My classmate went to open the door, but she turned around and said that he had a gun. And then as soon as she said that, he started firing.
My teacher thought it was just like some kid acting foolish. So then she took a peek outside, and then we heard repeatedly the banging again, and that's when we could identify it was a gun.
In some truly awful and sadly too familiar news, multiple victims were rushed to the hospital yesterday morning after a shooting at a high school in northeastern Georgia. 4 people lost their lives, many more injured in the tragedy, which occurred about an hour outside Atlanta. 2 of the people fatally shot were students, 2 others were teachers. The first call reporting an active shooter came in about 10:30 a.m. Law enforcement officers and 2 school resource officers responded to the scene quickly.
Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school who immediately encountered the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken into custody.
Officials identified the suspect as a 14-year-old student who's been on the FBI's radar since last year, when he was investigated in connection to online school shooting threats when he was only 13. An official statement said at the time there was no probable cause to take any further action. However, local schools were alerted to his behavior. The shooter's motive remains under investigation.
You know what, Cubby? I don't know why this always comes to mind for me, but it always does whenever one of these asinine active shooter nightmares happen. And it's so common now. Why this always comes to mind, I don't know. But I always think if I was able to pull my grandfather out of his grave and show him this news report, how he would react to such a thing. He would probably say, "What? Why? Is this real?" You know what I mean? Why is this where so many people turn now? Why is this the answer for so many people. And like I said, I don't exactly know why I want to compare it to how older folks used to do things, but that's where my mind goes.
I mean, even people our age.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I never once even had the thought.
No.
Never crossed my mind, never heard of anything. I mean, I tell my kids, they have these active shooter drills, and it's heartbreaking. It's very sad that they even have to have these. But for obvious reasons, they have to. You remember, we would have to go through nuclear bomb drills.
Yes.
Back then, because we were scared of the Russians. We weren't scared of our own classmates.
Right.
Yeah, it's
just so bizarre and hard to believe that this is the route so many people choose to take.
A Florida man's pathetic desire to be the cool teacher backfired in a big way. 38-year-old special education teacher Julio Barcelo was arrested Friday after deputies said he offered marijuana to minors and sent inappropriate photos to students at a high school in Atwater. According to the sheriff's office, on August 10th, administrators reached out to the on-campus school resource deputy regarding allegations made against the teacher. Deputy said he was arrested for furnishing cannabis to a minor.
You're selling grass to the kids?
Yeah. They gave it to him. Hey, kids.
Hey, kids.
Want to do some weed? I'm cool. I smoke weed just like you. In what sounds like a bizarre competition for the world's worst role model in education, the Florida teacher whose ill-advised attempt to garner the cool teacher label, which landed him in cuffs, he's got some competition. A 44-year-old Minnesota man who, after an alleged night of channeling his inner frat boy, decided to go to work despite being a school bus driver who allegedly tried to drive 17 kids to school while still drunk. The suspected drunk school bus driver got arrested in St. Louis County yesterday after a concerned citizen tipped off law enforcement about his drinking just hours earlier. It started after midnight when someone called 911 saying the driver had been drinking heavily the night before. They didn't hold back, calling him highly intoxicated and worried he'd still be drunk by the time he started his shift. Deputies showed up at the driver's house about 6 a.m., and when they spoke to him, he swore up and down he wasn't working that day. But an hour later, the school district called law enforcement to say actually he was out driving his route and 17 kids were on board. That's when officers tracked him down and pulled him over in the middle of his route. When he was arrested, his BAC was .16, not only more than the legal limit to drive, but bus drivers in Minnesota aren't allowed to have any amount of alcohol in their system while operating a school bus.
Dude's just burping up olives as he's driving the school bus around town.
Luckily, no one was hurt, and as of yesterday afternoon, the driver was still in jail, waiting to be officially charged.
What's wrong with you, man?
I don't know. Call in sick.
Mm-hmm. What's wrong with you, dude?
I don't get that.
It just, you're doing it wrong.
A 53-year-old driver punched another driver in the face after the other driver made the mistake of complimenting his car.
Yeah, you don't do that to another guy.
Yeah, that's going to set him off.
Yeah.
According to the Polk County Sheriff's Office, about 5:45 p.m. Sunday, John Sturgeon was driving ahead of another vehicle when he abruptly slammed on his brakes, jumped out of his car, stormed over to the other driver, and socked him right in the Munch Mansion.
God help us.
When deputies asked the stunned victim what could have possibly triggered the outburst, he said he simply waved at Sturgeon and told him, "Nice car." The victim's dash cam footage paints a wild scene, showing Sturgeon's black Dodge Challenger coming to a sudden stop in the middle of the road. Sturgeon, visibly amped in a red tank top and gray shorts, muscles bulging, unleashed a strong string of curses while the victim tries to explain, "I'm just saying nice car, bro."
You want to clap? You big tough guy? I'm trying to tell you nice car, bro. I like your car. You better pay attention.
Yeah. The video ends.
He says.
What? I just said. The video ends with Sturgeon angrily stomping back to his Challenger and speeding off in a rage, leaving police asking how a compliment went so terribly wrong.
No, And the dude who did the punching, he's some blown-up steroid tiger?
Yeah, and it's funny. So people they figured out his, the internet's so good / bad at this kind of thing. They found his social media, and people are saying a lot of roid rage comments, but also a lot of nice car bros.
Oh, I love it.
So many people are some form of nice car bro.
Let's turn the screws on this guy.
Yeah, they got him. Hey, remember this guy?
I went out to my front porch and noticed this, what I thought was a cat poop, and it turned out to be a person. And not only did he defecate, but he also urinated on our welcome mat.
Well, the Kentucky porch pooper's clearly on a high-fiber diet because he struck that guy's house 2 more times since going viral late last week. Dude. A 45-year-old homeowner, speaking on condition of anonymity, said the repeat reliever hit his porch twice more for a late-night dump over a long weekend, bringing the total number 2s to number 6. The first of the most recent incidents happened Sunday, so the homeowner said he put out cat litter and loud sonic speakers to scare the man off. The delinquent defecator did run off, pretty frightened after his Monday poop, though it didn't stop him from leaving the load. In case you missed the story, video of a man now dubbed the Kentucky porch pooper went viral on social media last week after he dropped a steaming dump on his homeowner's porch several nights in a row. Adding to the confusion, the homeowner said he doesn't recognize the man and can't think of any reason he'd be tormented like this.
Keep me up at night for sure.
Remember that, Josh, do you remember that trank dart I was talking about earlier? Yeah. I think it's time to trank this dude in the jugular.
And you know, for years I've been advocating a discipline, a volcano, where we slowly dip some wrongdoers into it, and my punishment piranhas, both of those things people have ignored largely. Just ahead of my time on those. How about some subjectively, I guess, interesting poop facts?
Interesting poop facts, yes. He said?
I looked up some poop facts for you on this poop story. You may be aware that, by his own admission, Dana poops in backpacks. Mm-hmm. But maybe you didn't know that wombats poop in cubes. They're known to poop in cube shapes, which apparently helps prevent the poop from rolling away when they're marking their territory.
Oh, wow. I just learned that, I would say, about a month ago. I was shocked.
If your poop floats, it could mean you just have a lot of gas in your digestive system. The world record for the longest poop, and this has been disputed, but so far they are saying it's a record, 26 feet long.
Whoa.
Achieved by a lady named Michelle Hines, who said she ate a high-fiber diet to try and break that record.
She's single?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
On average, a human produces about an ounce of poop for every 12 pounds of body weight per day, which over a lifetime adds up to 5 tons of poop, enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
You knocked that out of the park right there, Josh.
I have wondered before, if you add up how many miles of poop maybe somebody has lifetime.
This is something that you've wondered before.
Quite often, yeah. And then I'll be like, oh, wait, I got to pay attention to the sermon. What am I doing? Frustrated with his 32-year-old brother's behavior at home, a 27-year-old man in Singapore decided to take matters into his own hands. Literally, by using a homemade flamethrower, he lured his brother out and then attacked him with a hatchet.
What?
During the fight, Daniel Phak Ming Chai slashed his brother on the right hand, chest, and leg.
He had a perfectly good flamethrower, and then he attacked his brother with a hatchet?
Yeah, he used the flamethrower to get his brother out of his room.
Okay.
Apparently, they said the injuries were pretty severe. He's likely going to have permanent injuries, police said.
Well, that's not good.
Prosecutors said the brothers didn't exactly get along growing up. After their parents split up in 2000, Phak lived with his mom while his brother stayed with their dad.
Oh, Phak.
For the record, yes, I'm very nervous reading that name, but that was a joke I was going to use later. Things got complicated when Phak's mom moved. Despite her asking him to move in with her, Phak chose to live with his dad, brother, and younger sister because his dad had the internet. As for the incident, which
I think I'd go with the parent who had the internet, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think probably.
I mean, I got pretty pumped when my folks got divorced and my dad got cable. I wanted to spend a lot of time at my dad's place.
Yeah, I don't know. He's 27, though. But yes, that's why he moved in. As for the incident that landed him in some serious trouble, he woke up to find his brother had left dental floss on his toothbrush. So annoyed, he made a do-it-yourself flamethrower with an aerosol can and lighter and burned up a soap holder. Later that day, his brother noticed the damage, got angry, and decided to get back at Phak by turning on the Wi-Fi. And that only made things worse.
These guys rule.
Phak grabbed the flamethrower and a hatchet, then set fire to the bottom of his brother's bedroom door. When his brother opened it to see what was going on, Phak swung the hatchet, cutting his brother's right wiener beater. In another disturbing incident involving a hatchet in Singapore, after a woman turned him down for sex, a 23-year-old man threatened her with a hatchet. Earlier, he had threatened to leak nude photos of her and had pointed a Swiss Army knife at her in hopes that would get her to have sex with him. He was sentenced yesterday to 3 years and 20 weeks in a Singapore jail, plus 6 strokes of the cane. You know, they do that over there.
They beat your ass with a cane?
Yeah, they whip you.
Is that a factor? Yeah. I'll be damned. Well, we were just talking about Singapore the other day. Weren't we some kind of death penalty for marijuana?
Yeah. The guy who tried to frame his wife or girlfriend, I forget.
I hope these brothers are both okay, because that's pretty entertaining stuff. One of them swinging around a homemade flamethrower and things like that.
It didn't take much to set him off either.
Pretty entertaining stuff.
In what might be the most dramatic breakup move of the year, a 50-year-old South Brunswick man was arrested early Tuesday after deciding that setting his girlfriend's parents' house on fire was a better exit strategy than just walking out the door. Officers showed up just before 3 a.m. after someone called 911 saying the family wanted Leonard Jones IV to leave following an argument he had with his girlfriend. When police were on the way, another 911 call came in reporting the house was on fire.
We were here 2 times earlier, once for a noise complaint at about midnight. We got a call about 10 minutes before the fire saying that there was an out-of-control male at the residence. The officers then get the call that a fire had broken out, seemed to be out of control. Officers respond, and by the time they got here, the house was fully engulfed.
No word on what started the argument, which led to Jones's superior decision-making, and thankfully, everyone inside made it out safely. 2 men pulled off a hardware store heist in Florida using just a lawnmower and a trailer for their getaway until muddy tracks exposed them. Police were called to an Ace Hardware August 25th for a break-in. Detectives found lawnmower tire tracks, a blue mask, and a spray-painted surveillance camera. The suspects stole 2 $1,300 pressure washers and a $1,000 generator. Footage showed one of the men arriving on a lawnmower, taking a pee break, spraying the camera, and stealing the items.
Peed on the camera?
Well, no, he just peed. But they caught it on camera. Then,
okay.
I see why you said that.
Yeah, what did he spray on?
I'm sorry. Yeah, paint.
Oh.
Yeah, I see now I see.
I also thought maybe he took a leak on the...
my fault. I put spray painted earlier, and I should have put it again. That's my bad. A second man helped load the trailer. A tip led to Joshua Reffett and Roy Perot, who were identified as the suspects. Reffett denied involvement, but was identified by a tattoo in the footage. He was also found with meth during the arrest. Police learned later of a similar burglary at a church this time, but also involving a suspect using a mower. That theft is under investigation. Streaming now on Netflix, a new mystery drama starring Nicole Kidman and Liev Schreiber. It's called The Perfect Couple. When a lavish wedding ends in disaster for one of the wealthiest families on Nantucket, the list of suspects is so long, the wedding party can suck it. It also stars Dakota Fanning. 2 weeks and a day away from our annual fall cruise on the Mississippi. Friday, September 20th, you can join the only members of the 93X staff ever awake before noon on Paddleford riverboats. Drink some drinks, toss free food from Lucky's 13 Pub down your snack trap, and twerk to live music from Gel. Sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. Limited tickets are available at 93x.com.
Limited tickets.
Yes, we were told this morning it's selling out.
It's a big damn deal. We're down to just limited tickets.
If you'd like to join us, jump aboard at 93x.com. Today, Michael Keaton, whose sequel to the 1988 comedy Beetlejuice called Beetlejuice premieres this week. He's turning 73 today.
That's ready to roll, that latest version of Beetlejuice.
Yep.
And you're pumped.
I can't wait. Sad day for the family of the very good girl, Brooklyn. They have to put her down today. Sorry to hear that. Our thoughts are with you guys this morning. Best of luck to medical chicken lady Jesus getting an MRI done on her shoulder. Godspeed to Big Rig Fenders Jesus coming off his 3rd shift job and has to stay awake at least an extra few hours for a final apartment inspection. And happy 34th to Youper Jesus. That's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
Got a fat ass and a bad attitude.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Get out of your feelings. Oh, you upset? You're a little mad because Taylor Swift is in the promo. Who cares?
Yes,
okay,
nobody, Nate.
Wipe the drool off your tank top and put some pants on and get out your mama's basement.
Preach, Nate, preach.
Oh. All right, every other sport can show celebrities at their games. We show Taylor Swift.
No problem.
You get in your feels.
Yes.
And get out of your feelings,
That's
man, and
right.
watch the game.
Yeah, here's a guy who's hoping to make some big money this football season, degenerate gambler Randy Shaver. Good morning, Randy.
Not just hoping, I think I will.
You think you will?
It's my year. Yes.
Oh, yeah. You think everything's falling into place now. You're retired. You got a new grandkid and all that. You think that life, you got it nailed.
I do.
At this point. Well, you won't if you lose all your money betting on ball games.
Wouldn't that suck? You got to go back to Channel 11.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be the worst?
C Willi Myles is here, too, Randy Shaver. Hi, C Willi Myles.
Good morning, fellas.
I would start a GoFundMe. I'd never want you to have to do that.
That would be so great if you pissed away your fortune on NFL betting and had to go back to work at KARE 11.
God, that would be so brutal.
They won't have him back, so he's got to go work at a station like St. Cloud or something. Sorry, man, you had your chance.
That would be so bad.
You're doing sports breaks on the Power Loon up in Brainerd.
I would love to be a Power Loon.
And I got no problem whenever we go up to, whenever we used to ice fish, we'd always listen to the Power Loon. I'm just saying, I would think you wouldn't want that gig at this point in your life, Randy Shaver. You and some kid who just got out of Mankato State are up there doing a sports break.
I'd do a benefit for Randy. I'd do one every week.
You would.
I
God,
would.
C. Willi, you're the best.
I'd do a benefit.
Dude,
No way.
I would get a second, third, fourth job so we wouldn't have to do that.
Dude,
he deserves to be out.
I could see you being that charitable and nice of a guy. So people in town would say, oh, a benefit for Randy Shaver. Is he sick again? No.
Yes.
Broke.
He lost all his money betting on ball games. C. Willi Myles has to do a 48-hour comedy show so he can pay his bills.
I'll be the Black Jerry Lewis. I'll just do it.
Exactly.
Telethon.
That's right.
That's funny.
Oh, Randy Shaver, I hope you do have a good year.
I do too.
But things have been falling so perfectly into place for you lately. I think you're due for a big hit.
Oh, my God.
Right,
Thanks
Josh?
a lot.
Everything's been so perfect for the man now. I think you're due for some misery.
It is kind of funny. You're not too far off. Things have been pretty good this summer since I walked away.
You're like this really annoying, perfect person all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Living the perfect life.
You're right. I am due for a fall.
If you had to pick one, what would it be? I'm going impotence.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Nick? What are you hoping for?
Well, something tells me he's already hit that point.
Oh, wow.
I can't help but think the guy gets into some drinks and makes some foolish bets on a few ball games, and his wife leaves him. I'm going to say divorce.
Man, that's nuclear.
Wow.
Yeah.
He went full.
Wow.
Well, you got grandkids, so you got that to fall back on.
Well, he's allowed to see them for now. All right. Well, I'm glad you're all here. I could use your support, really, because I had a helpless feeling when I looked in the newspaper and saw that tonight marks the beginning of another NFL season. I felt helpless, alone. I did everything I could to stop it. I sent a series of anonymous online threats to coaches and players, but they're going through with it anyway. The 20+24 NFL season begins tonight, and where it starts adds salt to an open wound. Tonight's game features the Baltimore Ravens playing at the Kansas City Chiefs. Haven't we all seen enough of that song and dance, C. Willi Myles?
No.
He wants more.
You bastard. You're not burned out on the Mahomes thing, the Andy Reid thing, the friggin' Kelsey thing?
No, I'm not.
Are there Taylor Swift prop bets, like how often you'll see her and stuff like that?
I don't pay any attention to that.
You don't?
But, no, I just love good football.
Okay.
A good football. I don't care who's playing, as long as it's a good game, good competition, and yeah, other than that, it bores me.
Well, we're Lamar Jackson guys, right?
I do love watching Lamar Jackson. I think he's a fun kid.
Seems like a sweet guy.
A fun kid on and off the field.
Yeah.
See, Willie, you're too reasonable for this program sometimes. You're too reasonable and mature for this program sometimes.
I try to be bitter sometimes. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
that's not even my brand. That's not my brand.
He's got a brand. So tonight is game one. Okay, this is C. Willi, I hope you don't mind. I'm glad you're here for a lot of reasons, but for one reason, we wanted to ask you a question. For God's sake, a couple days ago, we were talking about that poor kid, rookie wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. What's his name again?
Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky Pearsall got shot. Yes. Some kid tried to rob him, and they both ended up getting shot. Pearsall had a bullet go right in and out of his chest.
Right.
He's fine. He's actually already working out and preparing to play for the. A few listeners, we got on the topic of athletes getting shot. A few listeners texted in and said, "Did Ted Brown get shot in the ass?" Former Viking Ted Brown. I know that's a friend of yours.
Right.
I don't. That rings a bell. Is that a true story?
It does ring a bell.
Is that a
thigh?
He got shot in the thigh.
Yeah.
While he was playing for the Vikings?
Yes.
Is that okay if I ask you about this? What happened? He's a friend of yours.
I think it was just an accident.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a fight or anything like that.
Like a Plastico Burress thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Basically.
Man, when someone brought it up, I know Randy and I were both saying, well, it kind of rings a bell, but I can't quite. I was a big Ted Brown fan when I was a kid.
Right.
Wow. Shot himself in the thigh. Did it hurt a little bit?
I think it hurt a lot.
It's tough to know.
Feelings and everything. Yeah.
So many people give rave reviews of being shot.
Right. His feelings were hurt. His leg really hurt.
Minor inconvenience.
His confidence, everything.
Yeah. I could see all that happen.
Right. You get shot by somebody. That's a whole different story.
Right. What can you do about that?
Self-inflicted.
Right.
Oh, man. All right, so tonight the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. By the way, I watched the trailer for the new movie that Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce appears in. It's called Grotesquerie or something like that.
Yep, that's right.
He's only in the trailer for 2 seconds, so it didn't necessarily show us whether or not the guy can act, which I'm sure he can't.
They probably aren't going to ask much from him.
Right.
But it was funny. So you watch the whole 2.5-minute trailer, and this is Travis Kelce's part.
There's no future after this.
That was it.
I had to watch it a second time because I missed it.
Just to be clear, that might be the whole movie. That's it. That could be it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That could be it, but I thought when we first read a report about this misery, that Travis Kelce was going to be in a movie, I thought that we read he was a starring, but he's like a one half of a buddy cop team or something.
It's a different thing. Yeah.
But am I right, Josh, that the original write-up about this movie made it sound like Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte in 48 Hours?
Two different things.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, Grotesquerie's kind of a little bit of an older story. I mean, it comes out this month. But, yeah, you're thinking of two different things.
I'm thinking of a different movie he's going to be.
So this is a series, Grotesquerie. It's by Ryan Murphy.
Oh.
Right.
So, it looks kind of creepy.
Mixing it up with a different feature film that is going to put Travis Kelce in a starring role.
Right. No,
God help.
He won't be good.
No, of course. He'll be terrible.
That's not the point.
Right.
The point is, let's cash in on this popular guy.
Get
him on Jimmy Kimmel.
Dane Cook type thing.
Who?
Yeah.
Dane Cook.
Dane Cook?
Yeah, that type of, when he just blew up and he wound up in the movie Mr. Brooks. And Kevin Costner hated it so bad.
Oh, is that right?
He killed him so he wouldn't come out in this sequel.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
He killed him and knocked him into a grave and then put a slab over top of him to make sure that he would not come back alive.
I remember a little bit about Dane Cook.
Oh, my God. He was the biggest thing in the world for a while.
He was red hot.
And then
selling
they
out
found out
stadiums?
he'd lifted half of his stuff.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
It got to the point where he was just rude. And
that's
wound
terrible.
up getting kicked out of clubs and wouldn't have him back. He's kind of making a comeback now. You have to go away for a while.
I never really thought he was all that wonderful in the first place, but we did interview him once on the air. He's very nice.
Oh, yeah. He was. He blew up in the college market. He had one of the first guys to have 1 million followers, comedians.
Yeah.
And then they just blew up, and at the end of the day, he just,
Well, I think he
Where did he lift stuff from, C. Willi? Did he take it from one person, or did he lift?
Whole bunch of different. Everybody found out that they you would go places and he would record it.
Wow.
And everybody kept saying, that's such and so's bit. That's such and so's bit. You know what I mean? It's like
people
when
who
you've been
hadn't
in the
made it
business
yet?
for 20, 25 years, a lot of us had. And when you've been in this industry for 20, 25 years, you know just about every person's brand or personality, what they talk about, and you hear a bit, and you can change it a little bit, but it's still the same bit,
right?
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of he got caught. That's happened to a couple of people too.
I hate gimmick infringement, and I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to just to get us to talk about that Kurt Angle thing again. I truly hate. Although that's one of the greatest bits in wrestling history, the Kurt Angle, Ric Flair. But really, truly, I despise gimmick infringement, and it happens in radio too, and it makes me mental.
Right.
I get so mad at that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of YouTube videos that show Dane Cook doing a joke, and then they show the person who did the joke 10 years before.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I've seen that with another famous comedian. Same type of thing.
Yeah, it happens. It happens way more than you think, and you just as an entertainer. And I'll be honest with you. And I was when I was in Tennessee, when I was. And a friend of mine called me, and there was a guy doing my whole show that it was on video.
Mm-hmm.
It was on video in a video store that his uncle owned, that they recorded at a college that he did. He lifted my whole show, even my
So what did you
sisters
do
and
about
everything.
Yeah, even a reasonable guy like you, probably you were furious at first.
You'd have to be, right?
Well, when my friend got the tape, he goes, "Dude, I want you to listen to something." This is before you could send stuff over the internet, you know. So he played it, and he had the phone by it, and I go, who the hell is that doing my bit?
Yeah.
I say, who's that doing my show? And they said, that guy recorded you when you were at University of Tennessee Martin. And, he did your whole set.
I don't know.
So what did you do about that?
We did nothing. We just did a cease and desist. We just got an attorney.
Okay.
It cost me
Yeah.
$350 to send them a letter I just sent it to the thing. We didn't want to sue. I didn't have that kind of money at that time to try to go through a proceeding like that. So, we paid $300 to have them stop, and they shipped us all the VHSs at the time.
How do you not Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do comedians watch out for each other?
Yes.
I mean, do you guys really keep an eye on each other and your brand, your act, those kind of things?
Absolutely. When another entertainer hear you doing other people, and we will step to people too and say, "Hey, listen.
Yeah.
I get it. You probably you probably just heard this in passing and think you can just go on stage and do it, but you can't do that. That's unless you go and get, like my friend Alex Jackson, who used to be a firefighter here in Minneapolis, and then my other buddy Charlie Walker. We all came up together, and they were kind of like my mentors. And sometimes they will say, "Hey, I'm not doing this anymore. If you have a bit so similar, if you just integrated that into your bit, that's cool." And I have a couple of routines that I do about getting pulled over by the cops that Alex Jackson used to do, but I just merged it into mine because it really fits perfectly, and it's about asking questions.
Sure.
But the other part of 90% of the story is mine. But the bit that he used to do that was really, really fun, and Alex doesn't even do comedy anymore, so he, they will give you that.
It's great that you guys look out for each other and are able to respectfully maybe borrow a little bit from each other with permission and things like. Josh has been trying to talk me into getting up on stage, and with our connection to you, C Willi, maybe you could allow me to open for you. Because I've got this. I've got this. You might be a redneck routine that I think is.
It is hilarious.
What I'll do, I'll say I'll say it like this: if you walk down the street, that's the way. And then blankety blank, and then the punchline is always, "You might be a redneck." That's how I plan on.
It's inspiring.
That sounds familiar to me.
Oh, it doesn't ring a bell for me at all.
If you have a dog and you. One night I went
routine with two other guys at one point.
Yeah, I'll jump on stage with them and I'll be like, "Yeah, get her completed."
Right.
Uncle Bitch Jesus wants to know, C Willi Myles, the guy that stole your stuff. He thinks he knows who it is. Was it Steel Willie Styles?
Steel Willie Styles.
That's a new one.
If you're in a car and the back bumper says
Still Willie Styles.
Yeah, you changed. 'Cause you used to be an observational humorist where you'd get up on stage and you'd say, "What's the deal with whatever it was?"
Why?
Again, it sounds very familiar.
Yeah, again, it doesn't ring a bell for me.
Why do people ride bicycles?
Have you had this experience, C. Willi? So, do you know Pete Lee?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Pete Lee used to spend a lot of time, here, and we used to know him pretty well. Really fun guy.
Mm-hmm.
We were lucky enough to know him, and then he ended up moving and getting pretty big.
Yeah.
He said there were certain comedians, like some big-time ones, who had seen his show, whether they taped it or whatever, and said, you can't do this joke, you can't do this joke, because they thought it was too good. Mm-hmm. And he said there's a couple people he mentioned were almost infamous for it. Have you had that experience?
Absolutely. And you go right out there and do it. Look, if you can't follow me, then get in front of me. I was taught that. You don't disrespect a feature act. And I've never told a comedian. Only thing I've ever asked comedians that I've taken on the road with me to open up for me is like, I need you to clean it up. If you can't clean it up, I can't pay you. I'm not going to give you more money than you've ever made
to be foul.
For me to come out there and insult the audience that came to see me. Trust me. You know what I mean? I don't mean it disrespectfully, but it's like when you're the headliner, you get to make a call or two. But I will never tell you what you can't and not do, but you cannot go up there. If you want to say, drop a couple of cuss words, but don't F-bombs and the MFs. I can't. My audience is not used to that.
Sure.
They won't accept it.
Sure.
And they don't expect that from me.
That's respectful to your audience versus stealing something from your audience, like some great jokes. You don't want.
Right. I mean, so go out there, do your best, and if you don't get the big laughs, don't worry about it. Your check's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But don't go out there dropping the F-bomb because you get nervous.
I was pretty disappointed because, there's a couple of the comedians you mentioned I really liked, and it's changed my feeling on them.
Sorry about that. Don't ever meet your heroes, buddy.
I guess so.
Quite a few years ago, on the topic of comedians just completely ripping off someone else's act, a number of years ago, I went to a local comedy club, and this wasn't the headliner. This was some opener. I don't recall who I was there to see, but this guy comes out, and he's very stoic, and he's slow-moving, and then he gets on the mic, and he has this deep voice, and he's making, bizarre observations. I went to my refrigerator, and I opened it up, and the light gave me sunburn. And it was just these odd...
Stephen Wright.
I couldn't believe it was happening.
Right.
And the crowd is roaring. And I really honestly was looking around to strangers in the audience, and I was trying to convey to them with my facial expressions, you don't understand what's happening here? So I couldn't help myself, and I had a few beers. During a pause in this guy's act, I just hollered out, "Stephen Wright!" And the guy looked at me, and he did not look happy, and a few people in the crowd weren't happy, and I couldn't believe it. What are we doing here?
Right.
No one notices that he's absolute... Anyway.
Exactly.
I don't know how you'd feel good about yourself if I completely stole somebody else's act.
Because you go to places where you don't think people are going to know, and just like what you were talking about, and like I said, there's only a few guys out there that do it, and some people do it and they don't know they're doing it, and those are the young up and coming guys. They hear something, but it's like it's subliminal almost, like, and you think it's funny, you think it's yours, but you actually heard it, and you think you just twist it just a little bit, and that makes it funny.
Well, you must be oblivious if you don't realize that you're... Right. Oh, by the way, when's your next show, C. Willi Myles? People are texting in.
September the 14th. I'm at Crooners. I'm kicking off my fall tour, starting at Crooners on September the 14th.
Appreciate it.
There's a few tickets left, so call and get them up, man.
All right. Let's get back to football here real quick.
Is that what we were talking
about? That's all right.
Sorry, Shaver.
No.
Yeah, it's fine. It's awesome.
Randy's already placed his friggin' bets.
My fantasy teams are locked in.
Wait, can I say this quick, though? Well, so my wife and I, we were out running some errands the other day, and she decided sometimes we just don't know where we're going to have lunch, and we've eaten over, so many different places. So we wind up at Devani's.
Oh, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
And no disrespect. And I mean, I'm not pumping it up because I know that you love Devani's, but we went to Devani's, and maybe subconsciously I was thinking of you. And so we went there, and sure enough, there was in the back room, we were at the one in Shakopee, and there was one in the back, a little room, and there was a bunch of fantasy football guys, had their computers set up.
Oh, yeah.
They were in there, and I told my wife what that, I said, that's they're doing fantasy football. And she was like, what? She said, grown men? I go, hey. I say, don't you? I say, Randy Shaver does it. She went, no way. I said, text Roseanne and ask.
It was last week.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. I think he's the commissioner.
Last week, my 22-year-old stepdaughter was on the phone with my 12-year-old son asking for his help picking out her fantasy. He's obsessed with this kind of stuff, too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So tonight there's a NFL ball game. That's the first one of the year. Tomorrow night,
Brazil.
That's so nuts.
Should they just leave the Packers in Brazil?
Yeah, let's do that.
Hilarious.
Tomorrow night, the Philadelphia Eagles and Green Bay Packers are playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is the first time they've hosted a NFL game. But, I mean, things seem kind of iffy from what I'm reading.
Oh, big time.
A lot of the players are nervous to be there, and players have been advised not to walk on the streets holding their cell phones. They've been told basically do not leave your hotel room because, according to the stories I've been reading, crime is off the charts in Sao Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
We were told that when we went on one of our work trips. Remember, they said do not leave the resort.
Oh, that was Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah. Now, there's a ball player here, Darius Slay Jr. I don't know which side he's on, Philadelphia.
I think he's with the Eagles.
Doesn't really matter. He's going to be playing in the game. He, at least originally, he was making some comments where he seemed kind of perturbed, upset, angry that the NFL has sent his club to Brazil. He said, I'm like NFL, why y'all want to send us somewhere where the crime rate is this high? I told my family, don't even come over here because I'm not going to be around. I'm going to be in my hotel. Now, he's apologized for saying that. I don't know why he felt the need to apologize. The NFL probably ordered him to apologize and make it seem like everything's just fine. But the vibe I'm getting here is that a lot of the players are not exactly thrilled with this and a little nervous. Hell, they're dumping the specialized military police all over town at the ball game. They're going to sweep the stadium. It's just a hell of a place to play a ball game.
It just kind of makes you think about why. I mean, I understand why the NFL wants to broaden their appeal because it's all about money, right?
Right.
But why go to a place that really, quite honestly, is never going to embrace American football?
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's just not going to embrace it. It makes no sense to go to Brazil and send two of your marquee teams someplace like that, and then you end up with this bad publicity. Really, honestly, you end up with the kind of publicity you don't want. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, number one, like you said, it's for money. And number two, I think the NFL's doing it just because they can.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, I get that part, but it's just, I guess the big picture for me is I can understand why you go back to London. It's worked. It's actually worked very well. Mm-hmm. I can understand why you do Germany, places like that. This just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, they just got to keep reaching every corner of the globe. The NFL is so greedy like that. They want to be everywhere all the time.
I mean, you already had like NFL Europe, you know what I mean? So you know it works over there. But at the end of the day, in Brazil, they got football. And they're not switching from that.
Yeah, they're not coming. They're not coming over to this side.
No, they're not. They're never going to do that.
Now, I don't know if this is legit, but a listener has sent me a text to say that monkeypox is going around in Brazil, and that's another reason why I don't even know if that's a real thing, but that's what someone texted my way. And then here's the other rumor I heard about this ball game tomorrow night in Sao Paulo. Even though both clubs' primary color is green, They are not allowed to wear that color on the field because it's a gang-related thing. Is that a true story?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
So what are they going to do?
Shirts and skins. White shirts.
I'll bet one team's going to wear black. That probably is.
Okay.
I'm just guessing. I don't know what else you would wear.
I don't know.
Yellow.
Made special all white or all black uniforms for both clubs.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Great start to the season for the Washington Commodores, I got to say. Oh, they're off to a great start. They've had to suspend their vice president of content, whatever that means.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that probably what it is?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, they're social media.
The social media guy.
Okay.
And like if you watch, you don't really watch this stuff, but like they'll go into the locker room and ask the Vikings a funny question. Answer this. Like he kind of does that stuff.
If you were if you're a tree,
what kind of tree?
Tree would you be if you were a redneck?
Richard Roundtree.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go Tree Rollins. I want to be Tree Rollins.
That's another good tree.
So the Washington Commodores have suspended their vice president of Twitter because some of the things he apparently said about their fans and some of their players. Now, this guy was...
It looks like it was an undercover operation.
Yeah, it was.
He was secretly filmed while he was out on a date.
Yeah, what? I don't get this. Was this a reporter that did
this? Yes. The person calls himself, or at least this person is referred to in the story as a citizen journalist.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, wanted to secretly film a staff member of the Washington Commodores while they were out on a date. Now, that's not fair in the first place. You can't be listening in on my private conversations and then make it public. Right. Can you?
Well, I suppose you can, but I mean...
It's unethical.
Unethical.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there was some sort of... kind of an underlying, like, this guy is saying these things. We need to see if we can get him on tape saying these things.
Okay.
You know what I
fair
mean?
enough.
Yeah, I get that. And that's probably he's been saying a lot of off-the-cuff stuff to people off the record, you know.
Right.
And then you read this content, and you were like, that's not what you really feel, you know.
Yeah.
And this guy's probably heard him a few times and thought, you know what, I'm going to catch him.
The whole thing is so sleazy.
It is sleazy.
But this guy, his name is Rael Entine. He had a lot to say out on this date where he was secretly recorded. He called NFL players homophobic. He called NFL fans mouth-breathing alcoholics.
Wow. Well, he's not wrong, yeah. Somebody show me the lie.
Miss.
No, I can't.
He called the NFL's social justice initiatives bogus. He just went on and on and on. Most of the fans, he said, I would say are high school. Oh, made myself out to be uneducated right there, which I am. Most of the fans, I would say, are high school educated alcoholics. Over 50% of our roster is either white religious and God says F the gays, or the other half are low-income African Americans that comes from a community that are inherently very homophobic. And then he gave this information up. Remember that leak they had at the stadium, the Commodore Stadium a few years ago?
Mm-hmm.
There was a pipe that burst.
Yeah, they said it was poop.
No, they didn't say. There was a pipe that burst, and it was leaking fluid all over the fans, right?
Everyone thought it was poop.
And the team said, well, that's just water. It's a faucet line or something. This dude, at least while he was on this date and secretly recorded, he said that wasn't water, that was sewage. Yuck.
Yeah, he said the team lied about it. I think I'd know the difference. If somebody handed me a glass, I'd know the difference.
You'd be able to beat that Pepsi challenge?
I believe you could smell it.
He called Roger Goodell a $50 million puppet. So this guy had a lot of negative things to say about the NFL. He was secretly recorded. It's gone public, and now the team has suspended him. He says that Jerry Jones is really the guy that runs the NFL, and he hates gay people and black people. So, I mean, this guy had plenty to friggin' say.
That's what happens when you're in the room. You're in the room, you hear everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what's said on? I mean, that's kind of what happens in big business and in big sports. I mean, you always got somebody. That's why you have whistleblowers. I mean, sometimes you sit there and you hear all this stuff, and then you go out and you sell a different product to your staff, your workers, and so forth. But you really feel a different way inside. But that's the way you got to portray it. You know what I mean? And this guy is one of those guys that runs off the mouth because he knows all the ins and outs, who's the major players, and you know, and a lot of stuff that he said, even though he shouldn't have said it was wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of truth into what he's saying.
And he was trying to impress a chick at the time too.
And that too, and a little liquor might have been involved.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting.
Well, obviously, I think though, there's a setup to this where this guy has been saying things, like you said, out in public or maybe in private that this reporter or whoever the media person is that did this felt like we've got to get this guy on the record because this guy is not the same person you see who's representing the team.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
it's interesting to me that it happened to the friggin' Washington football team because they've just been troubled for years and years, and they're trying to get out from under this Daniel Snyder umbrella of garbage that they finally got rid of him. Okay, Randy Shaver, you friggin' junkie.
What? What did I do now?
Tell me what you think now, because what I have in front of me are final predictions for this year's NFL season.
Okay.
Here we are. It's game 1 tonight. We might as well get the predictions. You tell me where you go with this. C Willi Myles, agree, disagree. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We got Super Bowl predictions and every damn thing here. This is CBS Sports, their version of the NFL season predictions. Winner of the AFC East with a record of 11-6. That's not how you say it. Winner of the AFC East with a record of 11-6. The Miami Dolphins. By the way, they mentioned that Dana's pretend favorite team, the Buffalo Bills, will go 9-8.
Wow.
Winner of the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, with a 12-5 record. Winner of the AFC South, the Houston Texans.
Yes. I love the Houston Texans.
I do too.
Winner of the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs. They say the AFC Super Bowl team, the team that will represent the American Football Conference in the Super Bowl, the Cincinnati Bengals.
I disagree.
False.
Who do you guys like out of the AFC?
I'm going to take the Ravens.
I like that.
I love the defense. I think if Derrick Henry can stay healthy, he's going to add a running game that they haven't had in a while. Take some of the pressure off of Lamar. I think Zay Flowers is going to have a big year. And if they've got two really good tight ends in Andrews and Likely. So I really think Baltimore is the team.
You're agreeing with that, C. Willi?
100%.
Who we kidding? It's going to be the Chiefs again.
God, I hope not.
In the National Football Conference, the winner of the NFC East, again, according to CBSSports.com, the winner of the NFC East will be the Dallas Cowboys with a 10-7 record. The winner of the NFC North will be the
I disagree with that.
You don't like the Dallas Cowboys?
No, I think the Eagles win the East.
Absolutely. The Eagles. They're not even going to make it out of Brazil.
There's a fair chance.
We got another text on that I wanted to get to from Maker's Mark Jesus. She said she does travel security for executives. And when they go to Brazil, they have armored cars and armed protection against agents with them at all times.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Brazil is not a safe place.
It doesn't sound that way. I wouldn't know dick about Brazil. All I know is I got a couple of old VHS tapes of Kiss performing concerts in Brazil.
They love concerts there.
And then the Miss Boom Boom competition.
Yeah.
That's all I know about. The winner of the NFC North will be the Detroit Lions with a 12-5 record.
Yes.
They have the Vikings finishing at 6-11.
I think that number is probably right, but I think the Vikings will win more than 6.
Okay. The winner of the NFC South, Captain Death Rocks and his Atlanta Falcons.
God.
He's not going to make it through more than 4 or 5 games.
What do they say their record will be?
10-7.
Yep.
I didn't even know they still had a football team.
Yeah, they do. They do. And What's His Nuts even signed a contract to go, throw some screen passes and whatever he does, Kirk Cousins.
I really like the Saints in that division, but that's me.
Okay, they claim the Saints will go 6-11. The winner of the NFC West, the Los Angeles Rams of Anaheim, 12-5.
Over the 49ers?
That's right, over the 49ers.
Wow.
No way.
That's crazy.
And
no way.
Representing the National Football Conference in the Super Bowl, the Detroit Lions.
I hope so.
So CBS Sports says Lions, Bengals in the Super Bowl, and the winner, Cincinnati, by a field goal.
No.
By a field goal.
Neither one of those teams are going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think the Eagles, the team that I look at in the NFC, first of all, Dallas crumbles every year. So I'm not going Dallas. There's McCarthy.
No one would.
Forget
Say it. Dallas is trash.
Oh.
They're trash. And anybody who roots for them, trust me.
Yeah.
You got trash mentality.
I think the Eagles, Lions, and 49ers are the 3 premier teams in the NFC.
Uh-huh.
And any one of those 3 could make the Super Bowl.
Eagles who in the 49ers?
Eagles, Lions, and 49ers are the 3 best teams in the NFC.
Well, then I went over to a website called Pro Football Talk or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of those folks like the Packers to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, gosh, no.
These are not serious people.
No. their defense, I don't think, is as
They
good
are
as
trash people with a trash mentality. A lot of the folks on ProFootballTalk.com like the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. Let's see here. One of these so-called NFL experts has the Packers winning the Super Bowl. Yeah. And the Texans playing. A couple of them have the Texans playing in the Super Bowl.
I think the Texans will be very, very good. I don't think they're quite ready for that leap yet.
Oh, it's going to be the Chiefs and the 49ers again, and everybody friggin' knows it.
I don't necessarily think that.
It's going to be miserable. Another miserable year where nothing new will happen.
As much as I like the Chiefs, don't get me wrong, but I'm tired of them in the Super Bowl. I need to see somebody different. So right. I'm with Randy. I'm going Ravens, and I want to see Ravens and the Eagles. That's what I want to see.
All right. Ravens and Eagles, he says. Well, we shall see, won't we? Oh, by the way, that Pro Football Talk, none of their 4 NFL experts picked the Vikings to make the playoff.
No.
No. They're not going to make the playoff.
I think this is going to be...
Uh-oh.
I think this is going to be like a 7-10 kind of year. And I think that they're in a little bit of trouble. They don't have any draft picks over the next year. One injury away from just a complete catastrophe. If Sam Darnold goes down, it's a complete catastrophe.
Well, I enjoy catastrophes.
I know you do.
So
I know you do.
Yeah.
And Justin Jefferson, if they have a miserable year, I know he loves KOC. He's said this many times.
Kevin O'Conrad.
But if you're staking your future, if you want to get to the playoffs, if you really want to win a Super Bowl, and this team goes south this year with not a lot of draft picks and opportunity, do you really want to sit here for the next 5 years? I don't know.
I'm so tired of that.
That's what I said. I said that if you don't go out and build that team, man, he had this year to do it, and your number 1 draft pick is already done.
I'm so tired of that mentality. Well, I tried it here for a while, but I really want to win a Super Bowl. Whatever happened to people sticking around with the same company, no matter how miserable it is, like Josh and I have been doing for 30 years?
Look around. Do we have a winning team?
Yes, you do.
Do we have a chance to have a winning team?
93.7 is who drafted us, and we're going to remain loyal to that frequency despite them doing everything they can to keep us down.
To force you out.
But now
we already play in the worst stadium in the league.
Garbage stadium, trash mentality, terrible teammates.
Oh, man.
Terrible teammates.
Oh, this was a fun bit for a while there.
Now it's starting to hurt.
But hey, here's an example.
One's mug.
Dana said that on the radio yesterday, and we don't even know what it meant.
All right, fair. Go ahead. Continue.
We're supposed to win around here when one of our teammates can't even speak the language.
One's mug.
He's speaking Xylon, or what's that Star Trek? Klingon.
Oh, my God. This went south so fast.
That's what happens when you stick around here long enough. C Willi Myles. It's an anchor, and it'll drag you down.
Get out while you can.
Straight to the bottom.
Save yourself.
Go across town to K-Fan. Save yourself.
We love you too much to drag you down with us, C. Willi.
Here's a bold NFL prediction. We were just talking about NFL predictions. Oh, geez, Jesus. This is a bold one. He predicts a shortened NFL season due to insufficient funds.
Yeah.
Because I heard they're struggling for money.
I don't think so.
I'm kidding, of course. Right. All right, so the Twins lost. It was a terrible ball game last night in Tampa.
Oh, God.
9-4.
I know. I had to talk my mother-in-law off the cliff last night.
She's a fan.
Louis Varland just got pumped.
Ashley's boyfriend just got pummeled last night.
Double pumped. Dry.
Oh, my God. It was so bad.
But, they're still hanging around. Let's just focus on splitting the series. Pablo's on the bump today. Let's split the series.
Yep.
You can't be losing series now. Just get the split. Then you got to go play a series in Kansas City.
Yes.
But the good news is that, the teams that are right there with the Twins in the AL wildcard race aren't setting the world on fire either, Kansas City or Boston. And that's helping the Twins. Right now.
And here's the thing that's really helping the Twins is the American League West is a gong show. If the American League West was really good, this would be a problem. But the Astros are the only team that's getting out of the West. If Seattle or somebody else was having a decent year, then the Twins may have some competition for the wild card, but they really don't.
No, not right now they don't.
No.
Oh, all right, we got to get going here. But I had one more something or a damn nother, and this is just terrible. I've never seen this before in my life. Now, we're talking about the Women's Soccer League, Women's Professional Soccer League. A gal who plays for a club called the Washington Spirit. She's a midfielder, and her name is Croy Bethune. Cute little number, by damn. 2 days ago, yesterday, she goes out to throw out the first pitch at a Washington Nationals baseball game. And how do you say it? I got it here in front of me. Suffered a knee injury while throwing out the first pitch at a Nationals game, and she'll miss the rest of the soccer season.
That sucks.
Oh, my God.
I've never seen that before. She didn't react terribly when she threw the pitch. People that I've read a couple stories saying you can see her grimace a little bit. I didn't even notice that. So she's a pro soccer player, gets honored with the first pitch at the ball game, and has hurt herself now to where she cannot continue the season.
Tore her ACL?
Yeah, something like this. It says a knee injury.
Gosh.
MCL, I think it was.
MCL,
Oh, my
MCL.
gosh.
Just a step off of that mound.
It didn't look bad at all. Like you said, she's kind of laughing afterwards.
That
Probably
sucks.
thought she just tweaked it. Should have kicked it.
It says here she was a part of the U.S. Olympic team that won the gold medal in Paris. I didn't know that. So she's obviously a very key player. Oh, for Christ's sake. Goes out to throw out the first pitch at her friggin' regular job. Her job as a soccer player is in jeopardy for this season.
Yeah. They should have gave her a soccer ball and kicked it off the mound.
Yeah, that would have been a better idea.
Could have hooked it right in there for a strike, I guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool to see, actually.
We got to get going, by damn. Randy Shaver, we'll talk to you tomorrow. We will.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. Stick around. We got Dr. P. Jesus. Here's the deal. Go ahead and text us, 651-989-9393 if you got a medical question for our doctor friend. it'll be the first time ever that Dr. P. Jesus and C. Willi Myles will be in studio together. So send your questions in, and we'll ask Dr. P all about it next on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
Are you looking to improve your work-life balance with excellent benefits like 401k match and even tuition reimbursement? Standard Heating and Air is looking for an accounting administrator and customer service representatives to join their team. Learn more at standardheating.com/careers today.
The Bigger Pockets portfolio of podcasts are worthy of your investment.
The whole idea of what a house is worth is actually subjective.
New episodes available every day.
I've heard a lot of people who are starting to move into flipping because it really has good margins in today's market.
Whether it's real estate, on the market, rookie, or money,
I do think that mortgage rates will come down.
The Bigger Pockets podcasts are on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. P. Jesus. Welcome to the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X.
Oh, yeah, she went ahead and said it. Welcome, Dr. P. Jesus, to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. It's 8:22. 651-989-9393 if you have a question for the doctor. Hello, Dr. P.
Hey, good morning.
And C. Willi Myles, meet Dr. P. Dr. P. C. Willi Myles.
I am quite honored.
Yeah.
I am.
Really?
Anytime you sit next to a doctor, you just feel smarter.
I was saying earlier that the two of you gentlemen bring a certain level of sophistication to this program.
We're both laughing over it.
I'm serious.
We just heard the speech, Nick.
I'm serious. You're educated, reasonable, sophisticated men, and we're not used to being at that level. So we're very excited that the two of you get to be here together. What's been going on, Dr. P?
Hey, I spent a little bit of time with our good friend Jessica Zaleski. I rode at Brainerd again.
Professional motorcycle rider.
Professional motorcycle rider, yeah. I hadn't done it done much of the riding in a while, but...
So you went riding up on the track in Brainerd?
I did on Monday. I mean, it was a beautiful weekend. They had CRA going on, which is the Central Road Racing Association, so all of the amateur racers in Minnesota were up there. I watched them, and then I did a track day on Monday, and it was fun.
What was your best lap?
Keeping the rubber side down.
That's always the goal.
I stopped timing myself a long time ago. I've gotten slower and slower over the years.
You ever been a motorcycle enthusiast, C. Willi?
I was briefly.
Yeah?
Briefly. My junior year in high school, I had a Honda 754.
Ooh,
sweet. Yeah, she was nice, and she went down on a gravel road, and she stayed there.
How did you come?
You went down with it too?
Yeah. No, just her. I had just enough athleticism to jump off when she hit that turn, and
so you didn't get the road rash.
Nope, didn't get no rash, nothing. And
you must have been a good athlete.
And then I rode her home, and
your mother talked you out of it at that point, or something?
I got home and we put it up for sale immediately.
You did.
My neighbor bought it, and I got to see it like every day. But I was just like,
there she goes.
Yeah. There she goes. I said,
see, Willie's not sitting on it anymore.
Willie was already getting college offers, so he thought, well, this would be a good time to.
Well,
it was cheap transportation back in the day.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
I've been tempted. I've been tempted to get one.
Cubby was a motorcycle guy for a while.
But I'll end up in the paper like, man survives, but his penis is still missing from terrible. Maybe some super embarrassing accident that's never happened.
They've been combing the roadside looking for it.
Lady finds it in her ashtray a mile away or something.
What would they do about that, Dr. P? Would they take his earlobes or something and create a new penis? Or
I would be willing to donate some earlobe tissue to that.
So, Dr. P, you'll be happy to know that I believe all of us passed our recent yearly physicals.
Oh, good. Good to hear it.
Yeah.
I always worry about you all.
Yeah. I want some credit.
Good reason.
I want some credit because there was one test I was a little worried about with the results, right? And I didn't even text you on it. I avoided it because I thought I'm not going to bother my guy with something like that.
You know you always can.
He asked me instead.
What's that?
What was the deal that you were?
One particular test was a little low.
Well, what was it?
My anion something, ANION something. You familiar with that?
ANAL what?
Anion.
Anion gap or something?
Oh, is it anion? Yeah, that's it. Anion.
Yeah, it's basically when you look at like the electrolytes, sodium, potassium, kidney function, bicarbonate. It's a calculation that's done. It usually, as long as you're healthy, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, my doctor, who by the way is hilarious. I just met him.
Yeah.
For the
well, he's not that funny, is he?
Oh, he's very funny.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's super funny. Super cool dude. He got a hold of me yesterday. He's like, hey, this I could test you right now, and it could be completely different. Don't even worry about that one.
Yeah, it's a test that if you're admitted and you're in the intensive care unit, it can be used to measure some things to determine what's happening. But yeah,
well, when you see that red little line thing saying, "Uh-oh, this is low," it makes you a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean that's the nature of.
Don't Google that, by the way. I Googled it.
Right.
That wasn't good.
It's become challenging because in the old days we would order tests, we would get the results, and then we would be able to comment on them and then send them to you. And now you see them immediately, and anything that's flagged. I mean, oftentimes the patient sees it before we do because you get a email or a text or something, and
yeah, I got them Friday.
We get a lot of those, so we have
got a hold of me Wednesday or
yesterday. So people end up worrying about stuff for no reason, which is
now,
frustrating.
not that we want to sit here and just focus on ourselves. We'll get to some questions by listeners, but I just thought of this, and tell me what you make of it, Dr. P. I think I found out at my physical that my red blood cells were large. Do you know what that means?
Yeah. Yep.
Isn't that the test that I had? That Annie or whatever? I thought that was like the red blood cell thing. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
And maybe you are talking about something different. No, red blood cells, I mean, one of the tests or one of the indices on the complete blood count is like mean corpuscular volume, which, I mean, if they're a little bit larger than normal, that's nothing to be concerned about.
They said one was about the size of a hubcap.
Whoa! Okay.
No, I think they were a little larger than normal. Yeah.
That can be if you're a little B12 or folate deficient. Basically, if you're iron deficient, your red blood cells can get small. If you're B12 or folate deficient, or if you drink a little too much,
that's probably what it is.
The red blood cells can be a little large.
Bingo.
I'd say that's what it is. When's the last time you had a physical, C Willi Myles, and do you pass with flying colors?
I do. I have to do one annually, but I go like every 6 months because I get A1C checked and all that kind of stuff, and I do that. And my numbers are always rock solid.
Good.
What's that? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
Like if you're like pre-diabetic.
Oh, okay.
And you just want to get your. So I'm because it ran in my family, so I'm always conscious about it. And I have a doctor. My doctor is a female doctor. Just no disrespect.
What?
I like her. I like her because she is.
You bastard!
She's like I call her nickname is House. I just call her Dr. House because she asks me so many questions and the doctor I used to have, man, he would just like walk in and look at me and go, "You look great, Willie," and then like sign off on it and let me go.
Yeah, we had the same experience.
And I was like, I want somebody that's going to check me inside and out. And baby, when I tell you this woman, I've had her since 2009. I just absolutely love her, and she knows my body better than I do myself.
Well, then.
So, yeah. So.
No, we discussed that last week before we all went and took our physicals. There are some doctors who they'll check under the hood twice. And when I took my physical last week, I was there for an hour and a half. Josh and I had a couple doctors earlier in our lives that would say, "Hey, how you doing? Good? Bye."
Yeah, I
which was terrific, but at the same time we were wondering, what are they missing?
Yeah,
right.
I had a lady that basically would high five me and then say, "All right, get out of here, kid. Well see you next year."
All right, but they would ask me a couple of things, how you feel and everything, and touch my throat and grab my sack and shake my hand, and
They didn't touch my sack this time. They said they recommend I do that myself every couple of months or something to look for lumps.
Every couple hours.
Well, we do have plenty of texts coming in for you, Dr. P. 651-989-9393 if you've got a question. I don't know if we've ever had this for you, but it does involve genitalia, which is popular.
Yes.
Short but fat Jesus wants to know, is it healthy to masturbate? Are there health benefits, she wants to know.
So for
is there a punchline in here?
For a woman.
This is a woman, yeah. I am assuming she's asking for herself.
Yeah. I know. I mean, we've talked about it for guys, I think, whether there's And I think for guys, it's controversial in terms of the prostate. How frequent you should orgasm.
21 times a month, right?
Yeah, I mean,
out of control.
Yeah, I think people shouldn't be shamed into feeling like they need to do it that often. Men, and they shouldn't feel bad if they're not. For women, I mean, there's no analogous organ that would benefit from it. I guess that's a good question. I mean, I think from, a mental health and relaxation standpoint, I guess I don't see why it would be bad.
Isn't that why vibrators were invented? I thought doctors used them on women for
I actually have
mental
read about
health
that.
issues. Yeah.
I read about it because there was a place, where was that? Over in St. Anthony. It was the Museum of Questionable Medical Devices, which, do you remember that place at all? Did you ever go there?
Doesn't ring a bell.
It's been closed for a long time, but the guy who
does
had
seem
it,
questionable, like some pervert.
Right.
Yeah. Trying to get away with it.
But the guy who had that place, he donated quite a bit to the Science
sounds like
Museum.
fun.
So but one of the categories he had was these old, medical grade vibrators that were used by doctors in I think maybe the 40s and 50s.
Good.
I mean,
ma'am, this is the 5th time I've seen you this week.
So if we were, so let's pretend it's 1945, and this woman sends in a text, which they didn't do. I would say, well, ma'am, you could be suffering from hysteria, and that's why you need to visit your doctor for treatment with the vibrating device we have developed.
Right.
That was the thing. I think women would go in and they would be diagnosed with hysteria,
right?
Which I don't really know. I mean, I assume it was probably depression, anxiety, and the doctor would bust out this thing and spend 20 minutes with her and
Good Lord.
send her on her way.
Pretty sketchy.
Again,
It is.
men were at war.
It's a sketchy time in
How
medical
shady
history.
is that?
Yeah, that's pretty gross,
Shady.
actually.
But then it was one of the first home electrical plug-in devices developed. I think the toaster might have been first, and then it was these things you could order in the Sears catalog. It's a very weird history that
A massive wand.
yeah. So I don't know that there's truly a again, there's no prostate equivalent that I can think of that would potentially benefit from it. But
what do you think of this from Pull Tab Voyeur? She said they recommend 4 orgasms a week to prevent uterine prolapse.
Uterine prolapse.
Do you see anything there?
It's interesting. I mean, I guess. Well, okay. So uterine prolapse. It's where basically the uterus drops down and can actually drop out of the vagina.
No, it does not.
Again,
It's never happened.
It doesn't happen commonly in younger women, but it can be a result. It's typically a result of
The hell did I just trip over?
having had multiple babies and basically having really a weak pelvic floor. So the muscles of the pelvis get weak, and the ligaments and stuff get messed up from all those children, and you can have uterine prolapse. With orgasm, I guess there is contraction of those pelvic floor muscles. It's hard to believe that alone would strengthen them enough. I mean,
Keep them tight.
yeah, exactly. Kegel exercises are the intentional exercises that people can do to strengthen those muscles, and I would think that would probably be more effective. So, women
Less
who have
fun.
less fun, women who have incontinence or issues with that.
Southside Jesus, by the way, his first time he's hearing about the 21 times a month for a man, and he said it's also the first time he's above average on his health. A few people are texting in. I had a doctor tell me the same thing, to orgasm more once.
Oh, boy.
I had a bit of an enlarged prostate, and he said, this is what you need to do, son.
And you always high-five the patient when you
I don't know why I said son. It wasn't my father. He was a doctor.
I'll be damned. Oh, Dr. P. Jesus, C. Willi Myles sitting in with the program here. 651-989-9393 if you have a question for the doctor. Or maybe C. Willi knows something or another about the human body, and he can help you out, too.
Absolutely.
My eyes, says a listener. My eyes. They're constantly burning. Dry eye issues. Eye drops not working. Some days it hinders me in what I can do. Dry eyes and burning. Eye drops not working.
Well, it depends on how long it's been going on. I mean, if it's a recent thing, then this is ragweed allergy season. Basically starting a couple weeks ago, and so people, I actually have some red eye stuff going on right now because of that. Very annoying. And if you use things like Visine, which is essentially, it's almost like it's the equivalent of Afrin for your nose, but you're putting it in your eye. A decongestant that just sort of shrinks the blood vessels, but it doesn't really treat the problem. So there are good.
Oh, really? It doesn't?
It really doesn't. No, there's good allergy eye drops available these days. Things that Pataday is one of them, and then there's other ones that are for allergies. If it's something that is chronic, not just seasonal or caused by exposure to animals or things like that, people do get into a habit of using things like Visine routinely, and I think it can cause the same issue with the eyes that, again, using stuff like Afrin in the nose does, where you get this rebound effect. So if you're using Visine, daily, multiple times a day, you're probably actually making the problem worse. So it's good to stop that. But there are some chronic medical conditions that can be related with dry eyes. Sometimes they're like rheumatologic things, basically autoimmune diseases, Sjogren's syndrome, SJOGR. So it's harder to say.
Sounds Swedish or something.
Yep. That's but it's a sort of like it's a autoimmune disease, and dry eyes are one of the major components of that. But if it's going on and on, you got to get in and be seen.
Get in there.
Yeah, and you can see the primary care doctor, but obviously I think getting into the eye doctor so they can take a look. And if you've been using those decongestant eye drops a lot, you got to stop it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've had dry eye issues here lately too, so it must be the ragweed thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, usually it's sort of the second week of August, and it goes till the first frost.
Crystal Amazon Jesus said he's had a ping pong ball size bulge towards the bottom of his sternum for about 10 years. Didn't realize it wasn't normal until an ex brought it up to me, that maybe it is abnormal.
Ping pong ball growth at the bottom of his sternum.
Should it be something he's worried about?
Does it feel like it has a point to it? Maybe he can answer that question, Josh. Is it because I have an extra bone here at the bottom of my rib cage that it feels more like it has a point to it. It doesn't feel so much like a ball.
Yeah, there's a bone there that kind of it's almost like a little tailbone on the bottom of your sternum called the xiphoid process. That some people don't feel it at all. Other people will notice it, and it can sort of stick out.
But this is more like a mass.
For ping pong ball size. Is ping pong ball the same size as a golf ball? Pretty much, yeah.
You only know pickleballs these days.
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah.
Thank God it's not that big.
You could diagnose that.
Yeah. Right. Oh, pickleball. It could be a hernia. That would be the other thing I would wonder about. It's probably something to, have the next time you're at your physical, have the doctor feel it. If it's a hernia, usually, if you cough or, that's why we have people cough, to check for a hernia, because it will push whatever it is out.
Yeah.
But it could just be a prominent xiphoid process that doesn't really mean anything.
Could be. So could be nothing. Could be something, I guess.
Yeah, and if it's getting bigger, then that's the.
Didn't you say a while back, as far as like growths go, if it gets larger or changes color, that's when you might want to
or shape.
Or
shape.
I think in general, the advice would be if lumps, bumps, skin things, any of that stuff is growing rapidly, especially, you got to get it checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are stable in size, that have been stable for years, it's pretty unusual for that to be something bad.
Mm-hmm.
Changes over time in size or appearance are best dealt with by seeing a physician.
Yeah.
Or the equivalent.
You're an athlete. You ever have a hernia?
No.
Yeah, you are tough.
I know.
I never had a hernia. I had a slight hamstring pull once.
That's it?
That is it?
That's it. Well, and I had a dislocated shoulder that I popped back in myself.
Oh, man.
Is that all right if he does that, Dr. P?
That's like on a lethal weapon.
I was going to say, yeah.
Well, it was slight. It wasn't as full out, and I didn't want to come out of the game.
Okay.
So I walked by. I was in the field. We were in a goal line stand. So I just walked over and just bumped my shoulder. I said, if this doesn't work, I'll go get Kent Combe, who was our trainer at the time.
Kong?
Kent.
Kent Combe?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I backed up and it was on my back. So I backed up to the goalpost. I just ran my back into it. It was like,
that is
lethal.
I bet that looked friggin' awesome. I bet that was cool.
Popped
looking.
it back
No, it
in
wasn't
yourself.
as cool as you know. I have stuff, but like it hurt so quick that you only had like one tear come out of your eye. And that's exactly what it just burned like a little bit, but my shoulder was really sore. And I told him after the game that I did that, and he read me the riot act. So I didn't practice for like the first 3 days of the next week, and just iced it. And that's the only other problem. And now that I golf, I just have
typical golf problems.
Golfer's elbow and things like that.
Speaking of things like this, here's a listener wants to know, can I go on with my life with a broken tailbone?
Oh.
Or does that need to be reset or whatever the term might be?
What do you do for something like that?
I mean, there's not really much you can do for it. It's not an uncommon injury. It's your coccyx. People will. I mean, probably the most common thing in Minnesota is people slip on the ice and fall.
Yeah, hilarious.
Always
fun.
Always
I love
fun.
those videos.
I got a whole show I do about it.
Right, exactly. What a great
Slipping
idea. So that, falls on the ice or slipping and falling on the stairs is probably the other. Yeah, I mean it's not a bone that really has a function. I mean, there are ligaments and stuff that attach to it, and so it can just be really painful. Most of the time, you just give it time. You maybe get one of those little donut cushions to put on a chair so you're not putting pressure on it. Mm-hmm. I have occasionally had people who injured it, and it was driving them absolutely insane. And a couple of them have had some success, honestly, seeing a chiropractor and just having them try to, because it probably gets sort of, it's got a little curve to it typically.
Mm-hmm.
So if it gets kind of bent and it's just painful, it seems like the chiropractor can kind of, it's a hard thing to manipulate, but they can sometimes give people relief by getting it back into place.
Just standing on your ass for hours to try to.
I've never seen how that would be done or asked, but you don't cast it. You don't have surgery on it. I think theoretically, I have heard of possibly somebody having a surgery to have it removed if it was just
cut it right out of there.
But that's
Yikes.
like a last resort.
That would scare the hell out of me.
I had a buddy who messed up his tailbone by volunteering to be in the dunk tank at his kid's school fair.
Oh, no.
And he caught it on the way down?
Yep. He just dropped so fast and wasn't expecting it, and just landed right on it.
There you go. A tailbone is floating in the pool there.
Ouch.
Kids are screaming.
All right, kid, you get to pick the big stuffed animal for that one. This is perfect for Dr. P. Transit mechanic Jesus said, I'm losing weight, doing some intermittent fasting. Why does my pee smell like buttered popcorn?
Oh, God.
Buttered popcorn. So intermittent fast. I would assume. Typically, if you're smelling something in your urine, it is that you're actually getting yourself into a little bit of ketoacidosis. So it's the same thing that happens if you. And I know we've talked about this a bit before. If you're someone who doesn't have diabetes, suddenly your pancreas stops making insulin, you're sick. You go into ketoacidosis because your body can't process glucose.
We definitely talked about this because remember I had a friend who smelled like cream corn.
Yeah.
And it was concerning, like it was overwhelming, and then he found out he was. Wow.
This makes me sick to my stomach.
Right. So it's
basically
essentially it's glucose leaking out into the urine with diabetes, but then also when you don't have carbohydrates, your body starts breaking down tissues, and you get ketones in your urine, and those do smell a very specific way. But so people who do the old Atkins diet or things where you're essentially having like just protein and fat, and you're not having any carbohydrates, and I guess it could happen if you're fasting aggressively, your body starts to break down muscle tissue, and you get ketones in your urine, and it can smell like that. So
interesting.
It means I think of ketosis or ketoacidosis as your body is stressed. It's not. I don't think that's a great way to lose weight and be healthy.
So is it not eating enough or eating the wrong things?
Well, basically you have to be eating almost no carbohydrates, or there is a possibility that the person could have diabetes too. It may just be a coincidence.
Every time you take a whiz, it brings you back to watching E.T. at your neighborhood movie theater.
I love it. So, other than that, I can't think of I mean, cream corn and kind of smells like butter, right?
A little bit.
I didn't even know cream corn had a smell.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love corn, but ever since I was a kid, I think the first time my mother put cream corn on a plate in front of me, I said, "Did the dog cough this up?" It looks like regurgitated corn.
It does.
I've never had cream corn.
It pushes me.
Oh, it's good, man.
I get away from it.
Fresh corn or corn shoved right off the cob.
Right.
I don't do the canned cream.
Well, Josh will invite you over and
Yes.
serve me a big bowl.
We gotta take
We're having a fancy dinner.
Yeah.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, here we are, getting ready to wrap things up with Dr. P. Jesus and C. Willi Myles in studio. Listeners have been texting in questions for the doctor, and he's been doing a wonderful job as usual. We never can get through one of your segments without talking a little bit about STDs, can we, Dr. P? And that's okay. STDs are fun to talk about.
I'd say it's rare to avoid them. Yes.
Yes.
Quite common, I'm afraid.
Quite common. Listener says, I switched over to suppressive therapy for herpes. Suppressive therapy for herpes. What does that mean?
Basically, instead of waiting for the first inkling of an outbreak and taking a medication, you can basically take a medication every day, and it decreases the likelihood that you will have an outbreak. It unfortunately doesn't prevent it 100%. And then the tricky part, and maybe it's related to the question, is it doesn't totally prevent you from shedding virus to share it with someone else. It's not 100% reliable.
Okay, well, here's the whole question.
Yeah.
I've switched over to suppressive therapy for herpes. What are my chances of passing it to a partner while practicing safe sex methods, is how you say it. Safe sex methods. The chances.
It sort of depends where you typically have had outbreaks. I mean,
I thought you were going to say where they have sex, like a bus, in a tree.
Right? Yeah, trees are typically dangerous, but it has nothing to do with herpes. Actually,
that's a whole different kind of outbreak.
It has to do with
poison ivy,
right? Or gravity. Yeah, gravity's I can't say. Gravity's a biatch.
It is. It depends on where you.
Well, so basically, I mean, if the area where you typically get it is covered by a condom, which it usually isn't, because people will get it in their pubic area, then it decreases the likelihood of having virus, which is shedding essentially, but it doesn't eliminate it 100%. And so it's one of those things where if you are the person who has herpes, you're taking the suppressive therapy, you're honest with your partner, you decide whether you want to take the risk. But because you never can prevent it 100%.
C. Willi Myles, yes, go ahead.
Decreases the likelihood a lot.
C. Willi Myles, you've been all over America with your entertaining the masses. What town, when you crossed the city limits, did you say to yourself, I bet there's a herpes problem in this town? Can you think of one?
I believe I was somewhere in northern Minnesota.
Oh, yeah?
I think the city was called Climax.
That makes sense.
I just knew.
These people look like they've got the herp.
Right.
Yeah.
They gave the name and everything.
Yeah.
Just going to stay clear.
What it do, Jesus said, I'm 28, non-smoker, but I wake up every morning congested with tons of phlegm. But after about an hour, it goes away. What gives, he said?
Right before bed, I drink a gallon of homogenized milk, and then I wake. Yes,
yeah, and let it gurgle.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little bit related to the eye symptom question. I mean, if it's recent, starting on August 5th, I started having this problem where I wake up in the morning. It could be allergies, so that's something to at least think about, or some other kind of thing related to the bedroom. Some people are allergic to dust mites, which sounds like a dirty thing, but dust mites are pretty much inevitably related to being in the bedroom because we all shed skin, and dust mites are universal. So, but yeah, it could be a reflux thing at night. So you don't necessarily have to drink whole milk to have that, but if you're getting some acid reflux overnight, it will often cause some congestion that you need to clear in the morning. Those are probably the most likely things I'm thinking of, especially if it clears out afterwards. Possibly sleep apnea or something is causing irritation of the upper airway and throat overnight. So it'd be, talking to somebody about the pattern, maybe associated symptoms. Do you eat late at night? Do you drink late at night? If you do those things, usually trying to decrease your food and particularly alcohol intake, to a few hours before bed can help decrease reflux, or taking some reflux medication.
This guy's just the loogie champion of his county.
Right.
So is this something where if he can live with, is this something you'd go in for, or if maybe it doesn't bother him that much?
I think
it sounds annoying. But.
Yeah, it sounds annoying. Lots of people have some congestion when they wake up, or they clear their throat a lot, and they just live with it.
Anything that makes you nervous, like, you might want to check it for this reason?
If it's slightly annoying, but it goes away and it's not causing any other problems, probably not really. But again, I think, that's, we were talking about physicals off the air. It's a good, when you go in for your physical, that's the kind of, maybe put a little note in your phone to make sure you ask about that the next time you're in. I don't think you need to rush in. But again, if it's more recent and it's maybe related to seasonal allergies, there's plenty of over-the-counter medications for pollen allergies. So you can.
Is there one you like better than others? If somebody's going to go out and get one?
Well, I'm sponsored by Allegra. But
I won't
mention that. Yeah. Well, I'm also sponsored by Viagra, yeah. But not for allergies. No, I guess, honestly, Allegra is the simplest one, I think. Claritin, Allegra, Zyrtec are all over-the-counter non-sedating antihistamines. Benadryl is, the classic old antihistamine, but it makes you sleepy.
Mm-hmm. You got any questions for the doctor, C Willi Myles?
I'm all cleared up, man.
About your own general health?
The rash didn't look too bad, so I think you're good.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. P, we appreciate it. You mentioned you went riding over the weekend up in Brainerd.
I did.
What's it like on a bike now after you hurt yourself so badly a couple of years ago?
I know you always remind me of that. Yeah. Well, honestly, I am very much more thoughtful and nervous about it, and that's kind of why I haven't done it much in the last couple of years. But I took a street ride on a bike I have I guess maybe a month ago, and was like, maybe I'll just go try this again. I miss those people. I miss Jessica. I miss my friends that I've ridden with for years, and so it was fun. I really did take it easy, and it was a beautiful day, like 80 degrees. It was as beautiful in Brainerd for that weekend, for all those people racing, and then us riding on Monday.
I'd love to be your riding buddy.
Yeah, it really is fun.
You want me on back or facing you? Kind of my legs around your waist?
In front of me, facing me. It is honestly just good people. And we should plug Jessica Zaleski's, Czar's street or track days and her advanced riding school. She does just amazing things for advancing rider skills and safety and just people having a blast.
Cool. She's a cool lady.
Oh, yeah,
she's so great.
And we never have a problem giving her a little word
up
on the program. C Willi Myles, next Friday at Crooners, you start your fall tour, right?
Absolutely, man.
Well, we always appreciate you coming in. We have a riot.
I got to check that out.
I love it.
Go. Definitely go.
Get yourself a sense of humor first.
Yeah.
Nick and I was trying to figure out when did I start coming here?
Oh,
you
yeah.
would know that better.
Dr. P asked C. Willi.
It's funny. We were. My wife got mad at me because we were talking about the show, and I'm like, "Oh man, wasn't he awesome?" And she's like, "I didn't go with you." I'm like, "Yes, you did. Oops. You were right there with me, and I saw you open up for Damon Wayans."
Exactly.
And it was awesome. I'm not just saying. I've told these guys well before we ever met you how good it was.
That's
one
true.
of the best I've ever seen.
And that had to have been, 15 years ago?
That's what I was trying to remember. We looked it up and couldn't find it.
It was, that would have been, I was still living in Shakopee then when that happened. So you're talking, that's roughly 18 years ago.
Okay, then my wife can suck it. I knew we were together. Right. I knew she was at the show.
Long time wait a minute. You mean you and your wife were together, but you didn't bring her to that show.
Oh, that's right. I brought somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was before you guys were real solidified, so you took a different woman to that show.
No, I brought her.
Because I've just come back from doing a college tour, And Damon Wayans was supposed to, I've told this story, I think, was supposed to have an opening act. He got paid full bolt for an opening act, and he showed up and he didn't have an opening act. And he told David Julian, who was the director of entertainment at Mystic at the time, that he only had 45 minutes. He had been in town for 2 days working at Acme trying to work out his show, and David they got to do 90 minutes at Mystic. You got to do 90 minutes. And he said, I'm not doing it. So David called me. I was sitting at home literally I was about 5 miles from there. He said, Willie, please tell me you're home. I said, dude, I just got home. My throat was tired because I had done 17 shows in 24 days. I've been on a college tour. You do a show almost every day.
Right.
I said, yeah, man. He said, I need you to open tonight. Damon Wayans just showed up without an opening act. And he said, what did you charge? And he's like, man, don't dry dog me. Don't dry dog me. I said, David, I'm in my chair. I said, if you want me to leave, I got to make me some tea. I'll do the show, but this is my fee. And he said, I got to give it to you in cash. So I drove over there. I literally drove backstage. They have a ramp where you can come, and they were introing me as I was walking. I wasn't there early. I walked out on stage, and I always have proof. I walked out there. First I was mad I had to work, and I went out there and I literally killed it. He had no idea who I was. He'd never heard of me before. And I could hear him yelling at David Julian backstage going, who the hell is this guy? David Julian said, what he ain't is an opening act. He said, but I needed somebody that was close that I can get. Cool. And he lives 5 minutes from here. And the dude hated me from that day on.
And Josh hated Damon Wayans.
And I was so excited to see. Oh, he was terrible.
Trash.
I couldn't believe it. I love him. And I thought, this is going to be so good.
I have no problem calling a guy. He was trash.
He was really bad.
I'm not saying his whole career. I'm saying that night, trash.
It seemed like he didn't want to be there. He wasn't funny at all.
Doesn't sound like
People,
it.
I would say probably 70% of the crowd left.
He was talking about Tattoo from Fantasy Island. He was raping Tattoo.
Why are you going after Why are you going after Hervé Villechef?
That's what I'm saying. What did he do to you?
The man was probably dead at that point.
I think he was.
Yeah.
And also, right before that, he had talked about, hey, I'm a changed man. I don't work dirty. All that stuff I'm passing. I've never been to a show that was more dirty, more swear words. Not
C
funny
Willi
dirty.
put him in a bad mood.
He was pissed. I walked off. He wouldn't shake my hand. He almost didn't even look at me.
That's
and
too
I got
bad.
back in my car. I went straight home.
Boy,
you were home in 5 minutes.
Everybody told me about the show.
That's a great story.
It was bad.
I may have stuck around for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then when it went south fast.
And maybe we caught him on a bad night because I think the guy's really funny.
Yeah, he is.
But boy, that was. You embarrassed him that night. That was awesome.
People were expecting to see. What was his show called?
In Living Color?
Me and My Kids or something.
Oh, yeah.
My Wife and Kids.
My Wife and Kids.
Something
That's
like that.
who they expected to see.
Yeah.
They didn't expect to see, the Red Fox version of Damon Wayans. But that's what they got, man. And it was.
That's
I'll
a great
say that,
one.
and if you know him and you want to call him and tell him I said, I'm man enough to stand, 10 toes down and say you were trash that night.
Fair enough.
And you were trash or entertainer for not shaking my hand.
Yeah.
Trash entertainer for not saying, hey, thanks for showing up. I should have bought an opening act. That was weak.
Yeah. Right. Dr. P, you better shake C. Willie's hand
I will.
before you guys get it.
Absolutely.
Thanks to both of you guys. You guys both did a great job. We love having you in. We got to get going.
Join us October 17th through the 19th at the St. Croix Casino in Turtle Lake, Wisconsin. Once again, our third annual Brotherhood Border Bash, sponsored by Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. You can sleep through a live broadcast of the Half-Fast Morning Show and then enjoy a live performance by Jesse James Dupree's Breathing Fire, dinner, drinks, and more. We'd love to see you again this year or have the great honor of meeting you for the first time if you want to join us. You can visit 93x.com for tickets. Ghost Town Jesus text in a happy anniversary to his beautiful bride lost in the roundabout Jesus. Rat Bastard Jesus text in a shout-out to his wife Sandy going in for surgery on her hand and elbow. Best of luck there. Happy 48th to Casino Zookeeper Jesus, and happy birthday to Zombie Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating and Air is looking for an accounting administrator and customer service representatives to join their team. Learn more at standardheating.com/careers today.